ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, is live at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama for the Winston 500. It's cloudy, it's cool, there is a 70% chance of rain this afternoon, but the chance of rain is lessening and not increasing. Mr. April, Rusty Wallace, comes into this ninth race looking for his fourth win in a row and a 101-point lead in the quest for the Cup standings. In the second five, Dale Jarrett is hoping for a win here today and bringing him a step closer to the Winston Million. Well, because the weather is threatening, we have put the cars on the racetrack. They are completing their first warm-up lap, and they should get the green flag next time around. 41 cars will start. Here's the AC Delco starting lineup. The pole sitter at 192.355 is Dale Earnhardt, and outside the front row, his best career start, Jimmy Spencer in the Meineke Ford, car number 12. And as we take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, Dale Jarrett starts in third position. Is it going to be this easy, Ned, as it was at Daytona?
Well, it wasn't easy there, Bob, but I think it'll be even tougher here than it was at Daytona because the pole speeder at Daytona was not 2 miles an hour faster than everybody else, as Dale Earnhardt was here. But the restrictor plate passing is getting better now because of bigger spoilers, and I think we will see a lot of passing and maybe even on the last lap for the win.
And there we see Rusty Wallace back in row 12. The winner of the last three Winston Cup events.
Dick Trickle starting alongside Jimmy Means in row number 14 as the field moves out of turn number 2, looking for the backstretch.
Well, we saw Mark Martin back there in the 11th position. His car is still on pit road. Something wrong with it. It won't start.
And we complete the starting lineup with Bobby Hillin. In 41st position, he took a provisional. Jerry, what's wrong with Mark Martin?
Not a good beginning here at Talladega for Mark Martin. He qualified 11th, but the Valvoline Ford would not crank. The battery was dead. Sitting here on pit road, they have now pulled the battery out, are replacing it with another battery, but the word from NASCAR is he will have to start dead last. Shotgun on the field. As you hear, they've just fired the car. They are putting the opera window back in the car as the crowd roars up here. A lot of Mark Martin Valvoline fans. Jack Roush here along with Steve Mill orchestrating that battery change. And our team making sure they get all those windows fastened back on the zoot fasteners. And he should be ready to roll away. A big smile from Mark and the team. Not what they wanted to have happen, but apparently they're going to hold him here and let him roll slowly as the field catches up the Valvoline Ford.
And instead of going green this time, they will complete one more lap in order that Mark Martin might fall in on the grid. Well, let's take a look now at the Busch track description. Talladega Superspeedway, 2.66 miles in length. The slow speed was 192.3 at a time of 49.7. We'll go 188 laps, and the field is separated by a little less than 7 seconds. Talladega is a tri-oval, and the turns in 1 and 2 are banked at 33 degrees. Off of that, they come on to the flat backstretch, which measures 4,000 feet in length. From there, they go to turns number 3 and 4, and also you will find 33 degrees of banking there. Then on to what we call the tri-oval, which is banked at 18 degrees, and it is 4,300 feet in length.
Pick up 300 feet with the dog leg. There we see Mark Martin down on the inside catching up and has to start at the rear of the field.
Now, if there's a positive situation to that, he has 2 more laps that he could run than the rest of the field, even though they're running under caution. A little bit more fuel in that car, so who knows what difference that might make. But I'll tell you, it's going to be tough going from there up towards the front.
Well, we have 4 in-car cameras today. Here's Morgan Shepherd as he will start in 9th position. Bobby Hillin is way back at the back. Had to take a provisional to get in the starting lineup in 41st. Jeff Gordon, the leading rookie contender, starts in 24th position in the DuPont Chevrolet. Jeff Bodine is also carrying one of our in-car cameras. He starts in 31st position.
That's Jeff Bodine, the Motorcraft Ford you're seeing. And there is Jeff Gordon, the DuPont Automotive Finishes Chevrolet. Picking his nose for the last time.
Did you
scratching his nose? No, he was scratching. I'm sorry, he was scratching his nose.
getting a little bit of perspiration out of there, so everything will be well when we go green. And the cars now are entering the 33-degree banking of turn number 3, and we should be getting a green for 188 laps of competition in the Winston 500. Certainly a lot different scenario from last weekend when we were on the half-mile flat track at Martinsville. This is the fastest and longest speedway that NASCAR competes on.
And I was really being funny because you can't pick your nose those gloves anyway, folks. I mean, you know I was being funny.
Quickly, an update on Mark Martin from Jerry Punch.
The crew originally thought they had a dead battery. They took a battery out, put a new battery in the car, but it didn't solve the problem. Apparently, it was not the battery at all. It was a switch. There's a power switch, a master cutoff behind the seat that they had to straight wire it around to keep the power to the battery to fire the car. So it was not a battery, it was a power switch as we get set for green at Talladega.
They're coming through the tri-oval. Remember, the start-finish line here is at the exit to pit road down toward turn number 1. So they'll move through the dog leg here onto a very short straightaway, and the green flag is waving. The Winston 500 is underway from Talladega Superspeedway.
It takes a while with these restrictor plate engines to get them up to full song. In fact, it takes a little more than a lap to get them up to full speed.
Comes Davey Allison on the inside, trying to take the lead down the back straightaway. 3 abreast.
3 wide, that's Rick Wilson up high on the outside, Jarrett in the middle, and Allison down behind, down below. They come through the tri-oval, and it is Dale Earnhardt and Jimmy Spencer side by side. Jimmy Spencer has never led a lap here at Daytona and never led a green flag lap this year. I don't know whether he did or not. It was close. They're 3 wide in 1.
Man, this is unbelievable. Look at him. And Earnhardt in the middle.
Ooh, I'd like to see him get out of that situation. Two abreast is scary enough, let alone 3 abreast.
I mean, this looks like a start of an Indianapolis 500, 3 abreast.
Dale Jarrett's trying to push Dale Earnhardt. He wants to push him on out in front. He might have done it.
That's Wally Dallenbach right behind Davey Allison on the low side of the racetrack, and Ken Schrader coming up too. Now we have Earnhardt ahead, but behind him there's still 3 wide out of 4. And a lot of movement in the middle of the pack as Rusty Wallace comes down and makes it 4 wide on the tri-oval. Watch this.
We can't keep up. Just watch.
outside lane was able to break away. Once Earnhardt got out there, then the outside lane, 3 of them at least, got up there and moved around the rest of the pack. There's still some 3 abreast racing back there. Dale Jarrett's been caught in the middle of all of that and has not been able to get out of the middle.
Davey Allison and Brett Bodine are battling for 5th position. The top 4 are Earnhardt, Spencer, Rick Wilson, and Joe Ruttman.
And folks, when we tell you these are the greatest race car drivers in the world, do you doubt us now?
Yeah, they proved it on those first 3-4 laps. 3-4 abreast all the way around the racetrack. And now the front 4 begin to separate themselves even further from Davey Allison, Brett Bodine.
But I believe now that Allison and Bodine and them have singled out that there's no more than a 2 abreast. Well, look at Kyle Petty, he's going to make that happen, make it 3 abreast back in there. But they might be able to catch up now that they've singled out the 3 cars we're looking at out here at least.
That's Derek Cope behind Brett Bodine. Here are your front 4 once again.
That's Davey Allison, Brett, Derek Cope, Sterling Marlin, and Rick Mast. There's our front 4, Earnhardt, Spencer, Rick Wilson, and Joe Russell.
There's Mark Martin, who is trying to fight his way back up from the front after problems on pit road. And a start from the rear of the field. That 68 car there is being driven by Greg Sachs. Bobby Hamilton was released from duty this week, and Greg Sachs is in the cockpit.
Mark Martin's made some pretty good moves.
He's
coming up.
Picked up about 20 spots anyway.
Yeah. Because Kyle Petty started 21st, and he's already in front of him. Ricky Rudd there, the 9 Chevrolet is one of those.
This is Jeff Gordon's vantage point.
He's somewhere in the middle of the pack. I see Bob looking for a position, but when he come by the start-finish line at 4 abreast, I don't know how they figure it out.
And we haven't heard from John Kernan, our other pit reporter. Here he is.
Well, Bob, Jeff Gordon has just radioed in and told Ray Evernham that the car is running just a little bit hot. Ray says, just be calm. The first pit stop will take a piece of tape off of it. You'll be okay. Now, you remember, he had that great run down at Daytona, winning one of the Twin 125 qualifying races. They qualified 30th this weekend, same car, same motor. Ray says, hey, you're a bunch of rookies. What do you expect? You can't go out and win them all or do well in all of them.
All right, we'll take a look here up front once again, and there is no longer a 4-car breakaway. They have caught up, but Dale Earnhardt continues to lead over Jimmy Spencer. Rick Wilson continues to run in 3rd place, certainly his best performance of 1993 for car owner Richard Petty. And side by side back of him, Joe Ruttman on the inside and Davey Allison on the outside. We've completed 7 laps in the Winston 500 here at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. Glad you could be with us on this Sunday afternoon. We'll be right back. In the 8th lap here at Talladega, and Dale Earnhardt continues to set the pace. The standings have switched just a little bit as position shuffle.
Look at Rusty Wallace. He started way back, what, in 23rd position? He is already 24th. Up there near the front.
He's 7th and looking for 6th. Goes to the inside of Sterling Marlin. Well, you know, we've talked about how Rusty has not had a particularly good performance in previous years here at Talladega. In fact, you could almost say that for his entire Superspeedway program. But don't forget, he was running in the top 2 or 3 when he had that crash or at Daytona. And so we could see some great performance today. And Davey Allison has fallen way back. He was up there in the top 4.
Well, he got caught in the middle for a lap. His cars went by him on the outside and on the inside, and he just got caught up there and couldn't do a whole lot about it. Now he's back on the inside there, Terry Labonte and the car number 20 of Joe Ruttman caught in the middle this time.
Let's go to Jerry Punch with a comment on Terry Labonte.
Guys, Terry Labonte qualified 38th in that Kellogg's Cornflake Chevrolet. Well, they have a brand new engine program and a new engine builder, Tony Barker, but he hasn't had time to get an engine ready for the Speedway. So yesterday, for the first time in Billy Hagan's history as a car owner, some 504 starts, he rented an engine from outside his shop. It came from Morgan McClure Racing, the Ernie Irvin team. And right now, Labonte started 38, is in the top 15, moving toward 12th position.
There you can see the serial on him.
And Jerry, while he was talking, while you were talking, he lost about 5 spots. So it doesn't take long here at Talladega to go forward or backwards.
It really doesn't. And it looks like the outside line is the place to be here. But you get more momentum coming off the turn, but those that have been down on the inside just simply haven't been able to sustain much speed up there.
The battle for 3rd, Rick Wilson on the inside and Brett Bodine along with Derek Cope on the outside. Behind Cope is Sterling Marlin and then Wally Dallenbach and Dale Jarrett.
Schrader trying to draft along with Rick Wilson, dove on the inside. Now he and Rick trying to get hooked up and go by these guys.
Now Michael Waltrip is trying to come up right behind them. They might get three cars and maybe make it happen. But so far, that outside line has just been able to pull away a little bit more. It'll depend a great deal on which line Dale Earnhardt takes up front there. because if he gets down low, well, that'll help the low groove a little bit better, open up a little more air for him.
Michael Waltrip also coming up to join the fight up front, down below Dale Jarrett and Wally Dallenbach. This, by the way, is Dale Earnhardt's 400th consecutive NASCAR Winston Cup start. And Brett Bodine, who is running in third position, started 12th, then to 13th, 6th, 7th, and now third in the Quaker State Ford for Kenny Bernstein. The 98 car of Derek Cope sneaking up quickly on the Quaker State Ford.
Ned, I was afraid Earnhardt was going to run off and leave him because he was 2 miles an hour faster, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. Here comes Rusty. And look, Mark Martin is coming to the front. Started dead last.
Yeah, Rusty, we saw him run up there a while ago, and then the outside went by him. Then Mark Martin came along and picked him up, and now the inside groove, inside line is beginning to move up towards the front. And Kenny Schrader, three abreast here again. And that poor guy in the middle, which is Rick Wilson in this case, that is not the place to be. I mean, it's dangerous in there for one thing, but it also really cuts you down, your speed down. You got nobody to draft with.
It looks like, oh, here's Ricky Rudd on pit road early on lap number 13. The Tide Chevrolet in, and they raise the hood on it. Not a good sign here in the early going, as Rudd, who came into this race 16th in the point standings, back out on the racetrack. Single file for about the first 8 or 9 positions. 193.15. They're going faster than the pole, but that is not a surprise since the draft helps the speed. John Kernan is down in Rudd's pit.
Gary Dehart and the crew go to work. They'll take the air cleaner off. They will work on the distributor. All of a sudden, Ricky had a really bad miss in the car, in the engine, so they will take the air cleaner off, check out the distributor, and they hope to get Ricky out, or it could be terminal.
Rudd waiting while the action continues on the racetrack. Here comes Schrader and Wallace in the low line, along with Mark Martin.
That's straight awfully good race cars. 4, 5 really good race cars on the inside. So let's see if they can get hooked up, get nose to tail, and go up and catch Earnhardt.
Now, certainly that's the shortest way around down on the inside. I said a moment ago that the high side was the place to be. I guess it depends on which race cars are on the low side, because Kenny Schrader is leading a draft up through there that's working right now.
It also includes Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin, Ernie Irvin, and Jeff Gordon. High from above, Talladega Superspeedway and the Family Channel blimp.
Davey Allison down there as well in that group.
There is an indication of the banking, 33 degrees.
I just really would never have believed that Mark Martin would be able to come back from the rear to get up here in the front pack this early. Only about 15 laps have been run, and here he is up there in the front pack.
It's not working for Schrader and these guys, because the last time by, he was alongside Sterling and Marlin, so they haven't really gained anything on that inside line. But where are they going to go? There's no place to go on the outside.
No.
So they're kind of hung on the inside right now.
The 90 car of Bobby Hillen started 41st. We're riding with him. He's right behind Joe Ruttman, and up there to the right now is Jeff Bodine, and ahead of Bodine is Morgan Shepherd. You can see how quickly he has moved up from 41st to 29th, dropped back to 34th, caught the draft again, and has now moved to 23rd. And John Kernan has another update on Ricky Rudd.
Guys, not good news for the Tide Chevrolet Rick Hendrick team. They were pushing the car back to the garage area. Apparently the camshaft is broken. Distributor was not turning. Gary Dehart, all he could say was, camshaft broken. That's it. Yep, it's over for us today.
Well, a tough break for Ricky Rudd. He will finish in last position here as 16 laps have been completed. We've had a very clean, a very exciting side-by-side race so far. Come back with us in just a moment to Talladega. We are back at Talladega, and look who has worked himself up front. In fact, challenging Earnhardt for the lead. On the bottom is Rusty Wallace. Davey Allison is right behind him. Then Ken Schrader and Jeff Gordon up in the top line. It's Earnhardt, Spencer, Martin, and Irvin.
Rusty Wallace led that last lap. He got 5 bonus points for leading that last lap. Now Davey tries to go to the inside. Rusty blocks.
Blocks him again as he moves back up the other way.
He says, come on, Davey, let's get by that other car, that 3 car.
I think Rusty Wallace came into this race, as we said earlier, this hasn't been his strongest suit is on these restrictor plate tracks, that if he could come out of here with the 10th or maybe even the 15th place finish, that he might be happy, but he's not thinking that way right now.
A salute also to Jeff Gordon, that car on the left of your screen on the bottom line.
And Rusty Wallace is cleanly in front. Now if he moves up, he'll get Earnhardt.
And there is the drafting freight train that has formed, and Jerry Punch has a comment on Rusty Wallace, who now leads.
We know they have a great engine program in-house in the Penske Racing South team with David Evans, but what they have here is a new Pontiac R&D engine from Mike Kennedy, Racing Engine Development Shop out of Trinity, North Carolina. Now, Mike Kennedy built the power plant. It's in the car number 2 and the car number 44 for today's race. It should be the strongest Pontiac we've ever had at Talladega, and I believe he's proven it right now.
He sure as the world is proving it. He's pulled away a little bit from Earnhardt.
Schrader got, well, I thought for a second he did drop down on the inside. He decided that was not the place to be and got back in line there.
So he leaves Davey hung out to dry on the inside. Davey's got a good line, but Ned Jarrett was right. Earlier on in the broadcast, he said it looks like the outside line, the cars are able to run a little bit freer and have a little more momentum off the corner and therefore run just a tick faster on the outside.
And ladies and gentlemen, just an indication of how tense and exciting things are right now. Both of these guys up here on my right and left are former Winston Cup champions, and both of them are admitting to me that they're a little nervous here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is nerve-wracking. Wally
Dallenbach with a good showing. He's behind Jeff Gordon on the bottom lane, in front of Dale Jarrett as they come through the tri-oval, or off the corner number 4 into the tri-oval once again. John Kernan, Wally Dallenbach with a great run so far.
You know, Bob, with all the experience that Wally has got in road racing, a lot of people say he's got to be one of the favorites in 2 weeks whenever we go to Sears Point. He told me this morning, he says, yeah, I feel very confident when we race on the road courses, but I want my first Winston Cup victory to come at an oval, and what better place for it to come than right here at Talladega.
Well, his best performance of the year has been at Daytona on a track very similar. He wound up in 10th position. Right now, he's hooked up in a draft with Jeff Gordon. Dale Jarrett is behind him. We talked about drivers who have recorded their first career NASCAR Winston Cup win at Talladega. Ken Schrader did, and Phil Parsons did in '88. Also Bobby Allison and Bobby Hillin.
Davey Allison, that's Bobby's son.
Yep, Davey Allison.
The first career victory. Ever see Dale Jarrett making it 3 abreast on the inside of Jeff Gordon?
Made it work. Joe Ruttman drifting up high there and looked like coming very close to Rick Mast.
This is from the back of Jeff Gordon's car, looking back at Bobby Hillen's car.
And Bobby Hillin, who also had a good run at Daytona, is doing well again here, Jerry.
Indeed he is, Bobby. Qualified 41st. In fact, didn't make the field in qualifying. Took a provisional starting spot in the Heilig-Myers Ford. But this morning they changed the entire electrical system in the car. They changed the entire fuel system in that car. It is a Robert Yates engine, and right now it's performing like one as he's making his way toward the front.
Well, again, we're going to let you just watch and listen to the action here at Talladega on lap number 24.
DJ's got him some momentum.
Tell you what, folks, you can see that middle row is not the place to be.
Tough place. Yeah.
And the speed continues to increase.
2 miles an hour faster than the pole speed. Jeff Purvis has been in the pits, going back out in the Phoenix Construction Chevrolet. 4 cars have broken away a little bit here now, Bob.
Yeah, it's Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Ken Schrader, and Jimmy Spencer up front.
I think this is Jeff Gordon's car, looking out the back of Jeff Gordon's car.
And then here are the leaders. As we look down on them from the sky.
That group we're following there actually are the last 4 cars that are just about to be lapped. They move through turn number 1. That's Gant and Waltrip included in those 4 cars. And now, to the right of your screen, there are the 4 guys that are running up front. So Waltrip and Gant and 2 others very close to being lapped.
I think it was this race last year that Darrell Waltrip ran so poorly in the Western Auto Chevrolet. Went home, came back to Talladega, and tested for about 3 days. And I thought he had solved his problems, but evidently he hasn't.
Off the pace here in the early going as Rusty Wallace is setting the pace in a 4-car breakaway after 27 of 188 laps in the Winston 500. Rusty Wallace looking for his 4th consecutive victory, having won the last 3 races at the short tracks. And it's Dale Earnhardt running in 2nd, Ken Schrader 3rd, and Jimmy Spencer in 4th spot. We welcome you to our live coverage from Talladega Superspeedway, and we'll be right back. Back up at Talladega, it is still Rusty Wallace up front, followed by Dale Earnhardt, Ken Schrader, and Jimmy Spencer. The top 4 in a breakaway.
Some cars behind them have gotten themselves lined up. It looks like Spencer is losing a little bit there. He's dropped back about 4 or 5 car lengths behind. He'll lose the draft if he isn't careful. Some cars behind them now have singled out in a draft where they were racing side by side, and that's what allowed these 4 cars to break away. But now they've singled out a little bit and are running the front runners down.
And they have lapped the 4 cars that we talked about earlier that included Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip. The other 2 in that group of 4, Richie Petty and Rich Bickle. Richie Petty in his first NASCAR Winston Cup start.
Of course, the nephew of Richard Petty, the son of Maurice Petty.
Well, we had 2 Pettys in the lineup for a long time with Richard and Kyle, and now we do that again with Kyle and Richie. Jeff Gordon, who lost the draft, has really dropped back now along with Rick Wilson. There is Michael Waltrip also, and Hut Strickland as Jeff looks to the outside of Rick Wilson. Remember, he was running up in the top 4 or 5 there at one point, but that's how quickly you can go to the back when you lose the draft. And there is Harry Gant, and number 33 to the right, who is being lapped by this group of cars now. Here's a Napa Field summary, how the cars were running last lap. The track record here is 186.288 miles an hour, and right now we are running at record pace at 192.2, and the last lap was 193.4, as we continue to show you how they're running at this point with the car driven by Ricky Rudd in the pit area out of the race. Now it's a 3-car breakaway.
Yeah, Jimmy Spencer has lost the draft, but right behind him, Dale Jarrett has been pulling Mark Martin and Ernie Irvin up through there, and Derek Cope, that is, in the yellow car, and Davey Allison, and they had really been gaining on that front group.
And now, yeah, they should be able to hook up together and pull right in now on the 3 that are running out front.
Right now, they need to stay in line. If Spencer's car is the chassis is off a little bit like it looks like it is, then he ought to move over, let this line go by, and tag on the back of him. But now that he has a Chevrolet up behind him, it looks like that he's coming back up towards that front 3 car, towards Kenny Schrader.
Yeah, that'll help to push him right back up there. If they, like you say, if they stay in line. Of course, Jarrett caught him so quick, he said, I'd like to go and move around. There they are. They've caught him right just that quick. Yep.
In less than a lap. Will they draft by him, maybe?
I don't know.
We'll see.
Well, right now they've got about, what is that, a 10-car breakaway.
Yep.
They ought to just stay in line. And here's Schrader going for, he's going to lose a spot.
Well, I think he saw Jarrett coming, realizing that, and I'm sure the spotters told him, hey, Jarrett's got a fast car. And when he gets up there, move and see if we can move on around. And he's taking that chance. He might lose a position by taking that chance, and maybe Jarrett's not going to play with him.
Doesn't look like it. They head up to the top and leave Ken Schrader on the bottom all by himself.
I bet he's saying, hey, Chevrolet buddy, why did you do that?
And there we see Purvis on the inside, but they able to go there 3 abreast.
Allison and Wally Dallenbach are bringing up the tail of this group, and looks like Ken Schrader may be here in a second.
Yep, when that train got up beside of him, they just went on by.
And I tell you what, you have to be awfully careful, because at the end of that line, you can lose the draft.
Yep, and that other pack back behind them now has closed in as well. They had pulled away from another pack that's being led by Sterling Marlin, but you can see how closely they're moving in.
Looks like Greg Sachs on the outside right behind Sterling Marlin.
9-car lead draft. Here is Earnhardt going inside along with Jimmy Spencer. He follows him. Earnhardt takes the lead away from Rusty Wallace.
And Rusty's going to be sort of hung out to dry here now unless somebody comes along and picks him up.
Dale Jarrett gets by. Mark Martin's trying to get by. Derek Cope's helping him.
Now Jarrett going by Spencer down on the inside.
Jarrett leading the inside drafting line, and he'll fall in now to second position behind Dale Earnhardt.
He had dropped back to about 15th position in that shuffling there at the beginning.
Mark Martin's looks like his left front caught the apron as he went in the corner, and car bobbled for just a second, but Mark did a great job in saving it.
Thank goodness for these high banks.
Yeah, Wallace is now back in a battle with Derek Cope for 5th position after having led for quite a while. Now here's an on-track interval, laps 30 through 34. This is how they closed up on Rusty Wallace. Dale Jarrett decreased it from a 2.2 second interval down to a 0.4, and of course then they went around.
Now we got the Dale and Dale show. Very similar to the Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's right. Shades of Daytona right here. Earnhardt and Jarrett, Dale and Dale.
A couple other main characters in the play are missing. Jeff Gordon, Jeff Bodine, a couple of Jeffs. Derek Cope now's hung on the inside, and Sterling Marlin, they've caught that group, Ned.
Yep, second group of cars have caught up. That's Cope on the inside of Joe Ruttman.
And once again, the Country Time Ford 68 is being driven this week by Greg Sachs.
Up front, it is Dale Earnhardt once again. Dale Jarrett running second, then Jimmy Spencer, Mark Martin, and Rusty Wallace. 38 out of 188 laps have been completed, and King Richard Petty has to be pleased with the performance turned in by his driver. We're at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, and in 2 weeks, a completely different scenario also, as we'll go to the road course at Sonoma, California, Sears Point International Raceway in the Safe Mart Supermarkets 300, where the defending champion is Ernie Irvan. That's 2 weeks, May the 16th, here on ESPN. And here's the interval leaderboard. Dale Jarrett is second, about 0.08 of a second behind the leader Earnhardt. Spencer is third, 0.23 of a second behind. Then Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace, and that's how close it is, a half second separating first from fifth.
I tell you what, we've talked about pit stops all year long. And if it keeps going this way, it looks like that pit stops, drafting, are definitely going to be the story today. Rusty Wallace has proven time and again this year that his crew is very, very good. Now, can they do it again? Here comes Greg Sachs on the inside. He's making a move.
I remember a couple of years ago, Greg Sachs had a great run here at Talladega.
Well, he won the Firecracker 400 in Daytona in 1984 in a car that was just kind of put together at the last moment. I kind of like this situation. Not that the car was put together just out of the pile of junk, but the car's been around all year, but it's the first time in the car.
And this is how he has moved up to 8th position after starting 22nd, fell to 24th, then up to 22nd again, and now is running in 8th position. John, impressive for Greg Sachs.
Yes, it sure is, Bob. I was signing in, getting my garage pass early Friday morning. Greg came up, tapped me on the shoulder. He said, hey, man, I'm in a ride for this weekend. It's so great to be back. I said, well, how many rides are you going to have in that car? He said, this is a one-shot deal, but I look to be very impressive on Sunday afternoon, and if I have a good race, come home, finish the race, top 5, top 10, who knows, anything is possible.
Got a good one going so far.
And Bobby Hamilton, who was the driver of that car, has some things going. I think we'll see Bobby back before too long. He definitely will be running some Busch Series events with Country Time, continuing to sponsor him in the Busch Series.
Did you see Sachs dive to the inside? Now, he has no help at all.
Yeah.
If Mark Martin would move over and help him out a little bit, he might could go the front.
He's running right beside Rusty at the moment.
But if you don't, somebody help him, Benny, he might go back toward the back.
Yeah.
And here comes Sterling Marlin up right behind him, along with Ernie Irvin. And the speed has fallen off just a little bit, but is still above the pole speed, 193.10 last lap.
Well, since there hasn't been a caution flag yet, evidently, the first 30-some laps of the race, we've run the first 30 laps faster than they qualified, right?
Pit stops have been so important this year, all year long, in determining where a car goes back out on the racetrack. We anticipate pit stops in about 4 laps, and therefore we're going to take a break here during on-track action so that we can cover the pit stops uninterrupted. From the Family Channel blimp high above Talladega Superspeedway, this is live coverage of the Winston 500. Family Channel blimp measuring 132 feet in length, 44 feet in height, and 37 feet in width. Weighs almost 3,000 pounds, can reach a top speed of 56 miles an hour. And it's in its 5th month of its 93 cross-country tour. And we welcome the Family Channel blimp to our race coverage once again. Well, here's how things stand. Oh, here's Earnhardt slowing off of the 4th corner banking, and he is coming in along with Jimmy Spencer and Mark Martin. Now, you've got to have a dance partner to pit because you got to come out with somebody and drop. Look how everybody's deciding, most everybody's deciding to come in.
No one wants to be away from Dale Earnhardt. They all want to follow that black 3.
Here's John Kernan and Wally Dallenbach's pit.
Bob, under green flag, we are looking at 2 tire changes. Right sides for Wally Dallenbach. Gets a cool drink. The gasoline will go in. Right sides only for Wally Dallenbach. Let's go down to Earnhardt's pit. Jerry Punch.
And right side tires already on the Goodrich Chevrolet. The world is pitting down here. Earnhardt tries to lead. Only 2 tires. Mark Martin is likewise out of the pits. Here's the car number 4, Bernie Irvin out. Michael Waltrip going by. Sterling Marlin, Bill Elliott. Everybody is back down on pit road, and most of them, as we would expect, would take only 2 right side tires in a green flag stop.
A massive movement off of pit road, and here comes another pack onto pit road, being led by Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Bodine also there. Here's Kernan again.
Robert Yates led through, goes toward right side tires will go on. We're still waiting to see what Dale Jarrett will pit. His crew is up on the wall. Also, Joe Ruttman is in for 2 tires. Morgan Shepherd in for 2. Davey Allison is away, and Kyle Petty now heads down pit road.
Well, Dale Jarrett's out there just running around by himself. I know he wanted to get 5 bonus points, but he has led 2 laps now.
Robin Pemberton wearing the crew cam.
That's how easy it is, folks.
Kyle Petty rolls the mellow yellow Pontiac off pit road, and John Kernan has another report as Dale Jarrett comes in.
The plan was to go to lap 50. Wally Dallenbach's crew had talked to Jimmy Makar to see if they could come in and fit together, but they wanted to stay out, lead a lap. I don't know how that will play out, but it will be right sides only for the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. The crew waiting. The right side tires already on, waiting for the last can of gasoline to go in. It's seemingly taking forever. Now he gets the okay. 16.4 seconds. Dale Jarrett is away.
Interstate Battery Chevrolet rolls again down pit road. And here come Davey Allison and Rusty Wallace. Along with Morgan Shepherd. Jeff Bodine is also there.
And now Dale Jarrett will not get his speed up enough to hook on to those front running cars. He just went out of the pits, and they're going to blow right on past him.
Showing Mark Martin as the leader of the race with Dale Earnhardt running second.
How can that be? How can Davey Allison and Rusty Wallace be that far behind these guys? Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison has got to be the leader of the race.
We'll check that. And now we're told that Davey Allison is the leader. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because they both made very good pit stops, as they usually do.
As they usually do, yes.
Allison first, Rusty Wallace second.
And then it looks like Dale Jarrett is going to be able to maybe latch on to Earnhardt. There he is right at the back, and he might be able to have his speed up well enough to catch on to Earnhardt and Mark Martin.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to draft onto those. And there's a pack of about 2, 4, 6, 8 cars there that have broken away from the rest of the field. Those pit stops, as they normally do on a super speedway like this, pit stops will separate the field.
That's Jimmy Horton, the red car on the outside, as Morgan Shepherd, Mark Martin, all those guys go by.
Morgan Shepherd being shown in third place in the set go forward.
Remember, he won the race at Atlanta this year on what we call a super speedway. Not quite as super as this one, but Morgan is certainly a threat here today. But here are the two that are showing the way, while Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt and the others form a line to catch up.
So you can see, just when we talk about how important pit stops are and how critical it is that these guys make those 16, 17-second pit stops, you can see just how important they are, the pit stops, because we had a 20-car pack of cars. Now we have a 5-car pack of cars. 6-car, I guess, with
Boy, Jeff Bodine must have made a super pit stop as well. And the Bud Moore crew, the Motorcraft crew, have turned out some very, very good pit stops this year. So that's put him right up there in the top.
How about the pit stop, though, by Wally Dallenbach Jr., John?
Bob, you may have seen it took him a little while to get going. Oftentimes, when you only do a 2-tire change, the tires are hot, you have cold tires, one side grabs, and you break an axle. I thought that is what had happened to Wally Dallenbach. Just talked to Howard Comstock. He says they think they've broken first gear. Now, that doesn't affect him out on the racetrack, but leaving the pits, it will affect Wally because he'll have to leave the pits in second gear.
Drop back to 26th position while Mark Martin takes the lead away from Davey Allison. Dale Earnhardt comes to second. And now Rusty Wallace drops into fourth, and then Jeff Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Jarrett.
Boy, it didn't take Earnhardt long to go back to the front. Once he got out there, he was, about 6th or 7th when he came out of the pits, but he has moved right back up there now.
Pretty impressive on Mark Martin's start on his race. He started dead last. He now has the lead without the aid of a caution flag here at Talladega. And look, he and Earnhardt look like they're trying to drive away from these cars. Davey will get him in line possibly to catch back up, but yes, Davey Allison has pulled back up on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt.
Fighting with Morgan Shepherd now in the Citgo Ford. Prepared by the Wood brothers, who have 5 wins here at Talladega. They're tied at the top of the chart with Bud Moore, who also has 5.
Now those 7 cars that we're seeing in the picture there are the leaders. There's another pack of cars, perhaps a couple or 3 seconds behind them, being led by Jimmy Spencer. So Spencer lost a little bit on that pit stop group.
Here's another Napa field summary.
As we look at Dale Jarrett trying to go by Jeff Bodine.
And Rusty Wallace going by Morgan Shepherd.
See, there are 33 cars still in the lead lap.
And we have run all green so far. It's a little early to think about this, but there has never been a Winston 500 that's been caution-free. The fewest cautions previously was 2 in 1985 as Morgan Shepherd goes to the inside of Jeff Bodine.
Boy, if they aren't careful running side by side with no one behind them and no one directly in front of them, they'll lose the draft of that lead 5.
Yeah, they need to get in a line in a hurry. And they did that.
Mark Martin has taken the Valvoline Ford prepared by Jack Roush to the front of the field after starting last with a problem on pit road. We'll be back in just a moment. After 57 of 188 laps, Dale Earnhardt has reassumed command of the Winston 500, followed by Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, and Jeff Bodine. And 6 through 10, Jimmy Spencer, Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, Greg Saxon, Ernie Irvin. Now 6 on back. They're in that second group, Ned, and they're catching the first 5.
No. They're in the first group.
Yeah, they are now. That's
They are
right.
now.
Remember, I said a while ago they were a couple of seconds behind. Didn't take them but a few laps. Jimmy Spencer was leading them with Ken Schrader drafting very closely. They've caught him. Now already gone through Mark Martin and have caught Jeff Bodine and Davey Allison. Greg Sachs in that pack.
Ernie Irvin. There comes Sterling Marlin. So it looks like that the 15-20 cars are going to be hooked back up together again.
Yep.
Just like before the pit stop.
Well, Earnhardt and Jarrett hooked up again in front, just like at Daytona. Remember, Jerry?
Absolutely. Daytona Beach, Florida. What an incredible finish that was. And I'm sure one member of our group remembers it well, the father, Ned Jarrett. But you know, it's the same car that Dale Jarrett had in Daytona, but it's not the same car Earnhardt had. In fact, they want to go only with the winner. This car won the Busch Clash at Daytona, and it won here back in July 2 years ago, 1991. So a winner for Earnhardt and a winner for Dale Jarrett. And those two running awfully well. We mentioned fuel mileage. How important it is. After the first round of green flag pit stops, Earnhardt's crew calculating their fuel mileage. They can go maybe a couple laps more than they went on that first stop, maybe up to 50 laps. But the informal survey here in the pits gives the edge to the car number 12, the Meineke Ford of Jimmy Spencer. According to Keith Allman and their calculations earlier today, they may be able to go as far as 59 laps if they have to on fuel. That's quite an advantage here on a super speedway.
Well, certainly this race has been won in the past on fuel mileage. It could be won today also. Now, Davey Allison, who is running in 4th place, had a 12.6-second pit stop last time for 2 tires. The question is, can they get the car full of fuel in that length of time?
Well, I don't see how they can. I really don't see how they can put 2 cans of fuel in it in 12 seconds.
John Kernan, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I talked with the gas man Norman Koshimizu, and he says that they got 20 gallons in the car. Now, he assured me that the gas mileage they're getting, that will be no problem making it to their next fuel stop. So those guys they're not really that concerned. Davey left just a tad early, but 20 gallons in 12.6 seconds, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
I should think it is. I'm impressed.
Yeah, that is very impressive. I didn't know that the stuff would simply run in there that
No,
fast.
I mean, we had cameras on. I forget who it was that had a 16.4 second. Was it Dale Jarrett? And the guy was standing there with a gas can waiting for the jack to go down, waiting to get full of fuel for the jack to go down. And it took 16.4 seconds. It's just hard to imagine that 2 cans would flow 4 seconds faster than 2 other cans.
And they all have the same vent hose. What is it, a 1-inch vent hose? The air that comes out of the tank, so the gas can go in.
Earnhardt, Jarrett, Wallace, and in 4th place, Davey Allison. He started 5th. He has led. His lowest position was 21st on lap 11. And he has picked up the 5 bonus points for leading a lap. In fact, he has led on 3 laps. Allison 3rd in points coming in, 158 behind Rusty Wallace.
16 cars in this lead pack.
We talked about Davey Allison getting enough fuel and Jimmy Spencer. How about Dale Earnhardt, Jerry? Have you heard if they got their car full of fuel?
I just spoke with Richard Childers, the car owner. Their pit stop was 12.3 seconds. Remember, it was only a 2-tire change right sides. By their calculation, Chocolate Myers, the gas man here, it takes 12 seconds, all of 12 seconds, to dump 2 cans of fuel in the car if you do it correctly. They think they did it correctly. They think they got the car full, and they were away in 12.3 seconds.
There's Chocolate Myers.
One thing about it, he's big and strong enough to hold those cans up there, isn't he?
That's for sure.
And if he wiggles it one time, that gas wants to get out of there, I'm sure, because he puts the pressure behind it.
And one of the most likable guys that you'll find in the garage area and on pit road. Well, it's single file now with Earnhardt, followed by Jared Wallace, Davey Allison, and the average speed is 189.5. That's with pit stops. We're 3.3 above the track record. Well, Bodine and Martin look like they're hooking up here to run down these first 4 cars.
We saw from inside on Jeff Bodine's car. Oh, Dale Jarrett takes the lead, goes by, and Rusty Wallace trying to follow him. Now, the 28 and the 15 are on the outside. They're just hoping that Earnhardt will stay down there, and Rusty will stay down there.
Rusty's trying to decide where to go.
Well, it looked like Rusty pulled out to go with Jarrett and sort of helped him to move around, but now is somebody else going to follow and help out there a little bit?
And there goes Earnhardt and Davey Allison by on the outside of Dale Jarrett. Or trying to go by on the outside.
Well, I was surprised that Jarrett was able to stay pretty well with Earnhardt with not much help. Now they're going by on the outside as he has nobody to help him down there on that inside.
Now Rusty's going to go down there with him.
Yeah, Rusty coming back up there now. We'll see how that'll help. I don't know if 2 cars can do it together, though.
Well, they're holding their own at the moment. Jarrett battling now with Jeff Bodine for 3rd. Rusty behind. Mark Martin up on top.
Yeah, I think Jarrett tried to get in front of Jeff Bodine there, but couldn't quite do it. Jeff was a little close up there. Now some other cars are coming there. We see Jimmy Spencer back there that's come up on the inside. That could help the efforts of those running on the inside if they get up there close enough to them. Sterling Marlin is down there as well.
Side-by-side racing behind the front 2, Earnhardt and Allison. Now Jarrett moves up alongside Davey.
Boy, he got a run off of that down on the inside off of turn 4, but the momentum was there for those on the outside, so he has to go back up and get in the outside lane.
65 laps completed out of 188. It's Earnhardt leading the field at Talladega Superspeedway. Well, we have 16 cars that are in the lead draft, and positions are being changed every so many feet.
As we speak, yes. See Dale Jarrett on the inside. Kenny Schrader decided he doesn't like it back there. He's going to go on the inside. Here comes Spencer. And Rusty Wallace had fallen all the way back to the next to the last car in the draft. He said, I'm going on the inside. I'm going to try to follow these guys. So he's passed 5 or 6 cars. We see Rick Mast on the inside.
Sterling Marlin is included in this group. So is Greg Sachs, Rick Mast. And bringing up the tail, the caboose on the train is the number 7 car, driven by Jimmy Hensley.
There he is, the Bojangles car. White car off the rear.
And the 68 is again Greg Sachs, and he's run up at the lead draft all race long.
Yeah, he's done a great job in that Ford. They're coming up on some cars, Rick Wilson and a couple of others up ahead of them that are about to go a lap down. That could shuffle things around a little bit. In fact, they're about to look at Rick Mast go by the car number 7 of Jimmy Hensley. Jerry Punch, you have more on Jimmy Hensley?
Dad, you know, we talked about the sale of the team last week. I talked to Felix Sabates this morning, who is basically trying to orchestrate all that. There were 36 offers that were faxed or mailed to Felix Sabates wanting to buy the 17. Now, they narrowed it down to about 2 firm offers last week. We mentioned that Jeff Bodine, his bankers, and people have met with Felix Sabates about buying the team. The other offer came from a group called the Leader Group out of Florida, where Payne Stewart, the golfer, is involved. Actually, there are 3 primary people in that group. Payne Stewart, the golfer, Oral Hershiser, the pitcher, and of course the 3rd member is a country music singer who shall remain nameless at this point in time. They are to fax their final offer to Felix at 6 p.m. tomorrow, and they will meet sometime next week to determine if they're going to buy the team. The timetable, Felix said he would like to sell the team by June 1st following this Charlotte event. So right now, 2 firm offers. The second one with Payne Stewart and Oral Hershiser. And talking about country music, we got a guy visiting here in the pit with us, Travis Tritt, famous country music recording star. Now you're down here in the Budweiser pit with Bill Elliott, but you got a lot of friends in racing.
I tell you what, man, it's just great to be out here. I'm a big race fan. To get an opportunity to come down and see this firsthand, it's unbelievable. So far, fairly uneventful race, but at 196 miles an hour, I guess you don't want any events.
I'm going to put you on the spot now. You're a Georgia boy, you're in the Elliott pit, but you're good friends with Earnhardt. Who do you pull for down here?
Well, you got to pull for, for both of them, really. I mean, I love Bill Elliott. I love the fact that he's from Georgia, but when you're running as well as Earnhardt has run all year, you got to pull for him, too. I just want to see the best car win.
Good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Travis Tritt, country music recording artist and a big fan of NASCAR racing.
Uneventful in terms of accidents, but not uneventful in terms of position shuffle. Now, we mentioned, you did, Benny, that Rusty had fallen all the way back to next to last in this line. Now look at him. He's in a battle for second position with Davey.
He has really fought his way back up to that. He knows how to use the draft and work around. Now they're about to lap this group of cars that I was talking about a few minutes earlier. Rick Wilson is in that group, and I believe Bobby Labonte and Terry Labonte.
And of course, Rick Wilson started this race in 4th position and ran up front before the first round of pit stops, but has been off the pace, and now he is being approached along with Bobby Labonte in the Maxwell House 22.
See, Terry Labonte moves all the way down to the inside in the Kellogg's Cornflakes car, gives them plenty of running room. Rusty will pick up the draft of those 2 cars in front of him, but now he moves up behind Earnhardt.
And Rick Wilson moves to the inside, allowing Earnhardt and the others to pass by on the high side.
Terry Labonte, the Kellogg's Cornflakes car, had some kind of problem on his pit stop is one reason that he got out of the lead draft.
You see they're running 27th position is one of Travis Tritt's favorite, Bill Elliott. Rusty and Dale now break away a little bit.
3 abreast again, going in the corner.
Ooh, Dale Jarrett, don't know about that, son. Yeah, I guess you know what you're doing. What I know about driving a race car.
At Talladega, 3 abreast at 190. We don't either one know very much about it, Ned, I tell you that.
And my question is, why would anyone want to know? They look so comfortable. Of course, we have mentioned the fact that they're running the restrictor plates and therefore aren't nearly as fast as they were a few years ago when they had a 212-mile-an-hour qualifying speed here by Bill Elliott. But they're also running 57-inch wide rear spoilers, 6.5 inches high, that are tilted at least 40 degrees, and that's got to make the car real stable.
It does make the car very stable, and we see Rick Wilson pull back in behind Sterling Marlin.
We're almost 4 miles an hour above the track record. We have been green all the way so far, and we're at lap 74. Right in the middle of the pack is Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford. That's Michael Waltrip just ahead and Sterling Marlin to the left.
You see Dale Jarrett's Interstate Battery right alongside Michael Waltrip, right in front of Sterling Marlin as they go down in turn 1.
Haven't mentioned Michael, close there. Haven't mentioned Michael a whole lot, but he is doing well in the lead draft.
He's having a good run. Boy, that team needs a good run,
yes,
too. Michael and Chuck Ryder, the car owner. I want to say hello to his wife, Pat. He's been battling cancer for quite a while, and she's a real strong lady. See how the hood shakes around on that Citgo Ford? A lot of pressure, a lot of air pressure on it.
I mean, we're looking at 195 miles an hour probably. Right now, this car is running 195 miles per hour as we see all the cars. Just one long line of about 18 cars.
Single file draft here at Talladega with Dale Earnhardt in the lead. From high above once again in the family channel blimp, that's Rusty in second, Jeff Bodine in third, and Davey Allison in fourth. We'll be right back. Hope you like our new ESPN Speed World animation. We're back at Talladega, and we go inside the cars. And we have cameras in. That was Morgan Shepherd. This is the roof cam on Bobby Hillin. He's right behind Jeff Gordon. And now here's the bumper cam on Jeff Gordon looking back on Hillin. And Bodine, Jeff Bodine's bumper cam looking back on Mark Martin. The speed last lap 193.5, more than a mile an hour faster than the pole speed of Dale Earnhardt.
These cars down the corner, they never back off the throttle. Here comes the second group of cars.
They're being led by Joe Ruttman.
And they're gaining on that front group of cars. They've been running in single file. There are 9 cars in this draft, and they're picking up about 0.15 to 0.2 of a second a lap on the group being led by Dale Earnhardt.
And this group, besides Ruttman, includes Brett Bodine, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Hillin, Hut Strickland.
Yeah, you said Hut Strickland. They are about a little over 11 seconds behind Earnhardt. Like Ted Musgrave there in the back.
Kenny
late
Wallace
speed in there.
Yeah.
Kenny Wallace, then late speed.
Late speed. Well, you know, in watching the single file draft, I can only hope that those of you out there in TV land were with us at the start of the race. I think those first 7 or 8 laps were probably the best laps I've seen in Winston Cup racing maybe ever. Unbelievable.
It was incredible.
John Kernan, we got this second group of cars here that are moving in on the first.
And it is a planned team effort by those 9 cars. They have tried different cars in front. Jeff Gordon led for a while. Then Brett Bodine led for a while. Finally, they decided they ran faster as a pack with Joe Ruttman out front. All the crew chiefs got together and said, let's just line up guys and try to get to that front pack. And a couple of times I've had them under 10 seconds. In fact, a few laps ago, they made up 1 second during 1 lap. They really like it that some of these guys in this first pack are racing side by side.
Well, as long as they're patient and stay in line, I imagine they can continue to close in.
I think there's some in this front pack that feel that they could lead it a little bit faster than Dale Earnhardt can, but nobody's been able to get up there and challenge him that much. Dale Jarrett went from 6th to 3rd on the last lap.
Now there's the front group on the left, and you saw the interval between the first group and the second group. Although it's only about, well, a few seconds on the track, there's quite a bit of racetrack between them.
And Kenny Schrader went from about 8th position up to 4th. He followed Jarrett right up through there. They hooked up in a draft down on the inside and went by several cars, so now running 3rd and 4th.
Davey Allison and Jeff Bodine are those up in the high lane.
Michael Walton's able to get by, and looks like Davey had to get off the gas for something back there, and the other cars got a momentum, a run on him, and Morgan Shepherd's right on the inside of Davey Allison. Just to the right of this car is the 28 car, the Havoline Ford. There we go.
Beautiful racing. It does slow you down a little bit, though, when you get out there and run side by side as they're doing here.
Jeff Bodine right behind Davey Allison.
Now, Jeff was up there in the top 5 not too long ago, and he got shuffled back.
That's looking out the back of Jeff Bodine's car. It's Sterling Marlin on the left, the blue and white car, and Morgan Shepherd, the red and white on the right.
As they move through the tri-oval. And complete lap number 84, the roof cam on Morgan's car. Great shot.
It's hard to believe looking at these cars that they're traveling at 190 miles an hour, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Front 3 cars are broken away just a little bit. Now here comes Derek Cope down on the inside.
Where did he come from? Cope is giving the Bojangles car a great run.
You know, he had a good run at Daytona. He led a good bit of the Daytona 500, got caught up in a wreck, but he had a very, very good run there.
His best finish was at Bristol, where he finished 12th.
Some of those are lap cars. Rick Wilson is one of those that's a lap down. When they came by, he tagged on to them. Don't blame him for that. Give him a little help.
Phil Parsons is running at the end of the group also, as we continue to look at Sterling Marlin and the Hillen car, the Heilig Myers car, is on pit road coming in.
I don't think this is a scheduled pit stop, is it, Jerry?
Actually, Nan, it is a scheduled pit stop. They did not get the car full of fuel. They came by a minute ago and said we're going to have to come in about 7 or 8 laps early. So lap 85 was the call. The Heilig Myers crew now going to work, changing right side tires. The pit stop's so critical now on pit road that they didn't get the car completely full of fuel. We talked a little bit ago about how Chocolate Myers with the Earnhardt team had shook that can to get it all out, but not quite full enough for Bobby Hillen's crew. They now wait on the fuel. He sits on pit road, and the leader comes by to put Hillen a lap down. 23.8 seconds to get it completely full of fuel, and he heads back to turn 1 and 1 lap down.
Well, they've got a problem with that car because then obviously you can do it in much less than 23.8. So something's wrong. The fuel just isn't going in that car as fast as it should.
Boy, that'll kill you here, especially. Just look at them, how fast they go by. It takes a long time, as we said earlier, to get your speed up here. He isn't going to be able to hook on to that pack of cars that went by, and there's nobody else coming for a mile. It's at least a mile before the next car is coming by.
So Hillen is hung out there by himself. This is the second group of cars. Now, this is Kyle Petty, about to be lapped by Dale Earnhardt, the leader of the race. Dick Trickle has just been lapped, and now, as they move through the tri-oval, Earnhardt puts a lap on Kyle Petty.
And Kyle Petty was running well.
That's surprising, really. I thought he would be much stronger than that. I talked to Felix Sabates, his car on this morning, and he said, I think we're in good shape. They were the second round fastest qualifier yesterday. And in fact, I think about 14th fastest overall, but had to start 21st.
He's in 27th position, but a lap down.
We see Ernie Irvan has moved into that 4th spot. He and Kenny Schrader, he's 4th. Schrader is 5th. The blue and white car 6 is 6th. That is Mark Martin, also number 6.
That front threesome had tried to break away a little bit there, but now Ernie Irvan, once he went around Schrader, he's beginning to pull the other group back up there to them.
We're less than 10 laps from the halfway point. In fact, we are only 6 laps away from lap 94, which will be the halfway point.
And you know they want to go at least to the halfway point to make this next pit stop so they could make it on one more stop after that.
Watching the lead draft again, led by Earnhardt. And it also includes the Pennzoil Pontiac, driven by Michael Waltrip.
Look at Ernie Irvan coming down on the inside of Jarrett.
This
trying
is the
to take
battle
over
for third. Yep.
The Kodak Film Chevrolet is showing a lot of strength.
They're side by side for third spot, heading down into turn number 1.
And while that's happening, Rusty and Earnhardt are pulling away.
Now, the on-track interval here times Dale Earnhardt and Joe Ruttman, who is leading that second group of cars. And you can see on laps 83 through 38 that the distance actually increased. They were 11.2 seconds at one time, but then the second pack, led by Ruttman, dropped back to 14 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, because they were clicking them off at about 0.2 of a second a lap, and then all of a sudden it goes the other way.
It is Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace running first and second. The first 2 in Winston Cup points are up front at Talladega Superspeedway and the Winston 500. Back at the Winston 500 at Talladega Superspeedway, the battle up front is between Ernie Irvan and Dale Earnhardt. Irvan has won here at Talladega. In fact, he won the 1992 Die Hard 500, the race that's run here in July. He's on the low side, has Rusty Wallace with him. They're trying to put Dale Earnhardt out of the lead.
You know, I said you couldn't fill these cars up in 12.5 seconds, but I guess you can, because Dale Earnhardt and Davey Allison, they're still out there.
Technology continues to improve in every area, I guess, and they look for every second they can possibly get on pit stops.
It's just hard to believe that those cars are able to dump that fuel, that they're able to dump fuel that quickly in these cars.
2 laps from the halfway point. That completes lap number 92.
Is there? Don't have that big bonus anymore at the halfway point.
Nope.
I wondered why they were fighting so hard here.
There's Ernie Irvan, started 16th and has made a steady progression. Now this is in the last few laps from lap number 55. He was 11th, 9th, 13th, 2nd. Let's see if he can move into the lead here. He has not been able to do so yet.
I think he's in trouble because I think Dale Jarrett's now moved up and has put Earnhardt back out in front. Now, if Earnhardt moves up and gives Dale Jarrett the grab, he should be able to go by Ernie Irvan.
Very. Although there is no halfway money, Dale Earnhardt is going for $22,800 in Unocal bonus money. That is the amount that he will pick up if he wins this race for being the pole sitter.
Well, Irvan was able to pull back in front of Dale Jarrett. Shouldn't be long, and these cars are going to have to stop for some more fuel. Now, you suppose they're going to change 2 tires again, Ned, or will they change 4, do you suppose?
I don't know. Those left side tires, I expect that they would want to change the left side tires at least once during the race. What are you hearing down there, Jerry?
That was a topic of discussion in the garage area this morning. Well, you can only change 2 at a time under the green and not lose time as far as track position, according to many of the crew chiefs. So we'd like to be able to pit under caution at least once today and get fresh left side rubber. But what I'm hearing down here is they're going to go with right sides because at Daytona, the teams that put 2 left sides on, the car went away with fresh lefts and Warren Rice just wouldn't hold the racetrack. So what I'm being told is the leader should come in. The car number 3, the car number 4, the car number 6 should come in possibly next lap and get 2 tires. How about you, John Kerner? What are you hearing?
Jerry, I'm up in Davey Allison's pit, and yes, they're planning to pit around lap 96. They're getting up on the board. We'll expect it to be a 2-tire change. And a lot of teams that I talked to today had said the same thing, Jerry. They were thinking about going with the rights. We'll have to wait and see. Davey Allison and the crew are all coming down pit road right now. Also, Sterling Marlin will be pitting as Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Bodine, Greg Sachs lead them in. Marlin will be the first one to come into his pit stall right behind Davey Allison. Davey comes in. They will go to work left side tires on Davey Allison. They also plan to take out a roundabout as the car had gotten just a little bit tight. Left side likewise for Sterling Marlin. Let's go down to Earnhardt's pit and Jerry Punch.
And the Goodrich crew line, left side tires. Andy Petrie, the crew, as they have Will Lynn checking the right side tires. Good pit stop for Earnhardt, 12.8 seconds as he heads down pit road. Here is Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine, Davey Allison, Morgan Shepherd, Rick Wilson, Phil Parsons. They all head down pit road at 70 miles an hour as more cars begin to make their way toward pit road. We would expect to see the Kodak car and Dale Jarrett as well as Mark Martin this time by.
Well, Jarrett and Ken Schrader both stay out on the racetrack, running another lap or so.
Ernie Irvan, Mark Martin do come in. Jerry?
And the Kodak crew waiting for Ernie Irvan to bring that film Chevrolet to a stop, hitting right behind the Pennzoil Pontiac of Michael Waltrip. Left side tires only on Ernie Irvan's car. Left side lug dust going on. Left side tires are already on the 6th of Abilene, Florida, Mark Martin. Now Irvan puts it back in gear and will pull away. 13.8 seconds as Irvan and Michael Waltrip scramble back down pit road.
Excellent pit stop there. Here is Jimmy Hensley down off the jacks. And Wally Dallenbach is in, John.
Wally Dallenbach's crew will go with the right side tire change, something that we had heard in talking with teams this morning. Dale Jarrett is now headed down pit road along with Ken Schrader. And don't forget, Wally apparently broke first gear. You see the team will have to push the car away. Rick Mast also comes down pit road. Dale Jarrett will get left side tires. 2 tires only for Jarrett. The second can of deal already going in. $100,000 bonus. The second leg of the Winston Million on the line as Jarrett runs the engine and heads down pit road 14.4, about 2 seconds better than their last stop. Of course, that was for right side tires, and that probably would account for it. Now, Joe Rudman is still sitting on pit road. They're having problems getting the gasoline to go into the car. They finally get it full, and Joe is away.
Hud Strickland moving out. Brett Bodine coming out of the pits as the lead group goes by at speed. Earnhardt, Irvin, Wallace, and Bodine.
And once again, Mark Martin has had a great pit stop. You know, I got on that crew at Bristol about how poor the pit stop. Today, both the stops they've made has been as fast as anyone on the racetrack. There goes Mark Martin, and here comes the next group of cars.
Yeah, he's way out in front of them.
Here's Robin Pemberton wearing the crew cam, changing the right side tires on Kyle Petty's car. Changing the left side tires.
Good pit stop.
Mellow yellow Pontiac goes out as Terry Labonte brings the Kellogg's cornflake machine in.
Bill Elliott also stops the Budweiser Ford behind Labonte. There goes Mark Martin. Also Dale Jarrett.
Yeah. They should be the leaders, I believe, once these pit stops are all squared away, because they are out in front of Earnhardt and the rest of the group.
So Dale Jarrett now finds himself up front in the Winston 500, followed by Mark Martin. We'll be back with more after this. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway and the Winston 500, which is being led by Dale Earnhardt. Didn't take them long to catch Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett, who were running out front, but now it's Earnhardt and Jarrett first and second, and John Kernan, Wally Dallenbach Jr. is going behind the wall.
Yeah, Bob, they're going to go back, take a look at it. They think the transmission is gone. We mentioned earlier on that first pit stop, he had broken first gear. He had to also come back down for a stop-and-go penalty for leaving pit road too fast. So Wally broke the transmission. They will pull it behind the wall, take a look at it, see if they can get it fixed, get back out on the racetrack, and maybe improve a couple of positions. But not a lot of cars dropping out today.
Bobby Hillin is about to get lapped. We see looking back on Earnhardt, Jarrett, and the others go to the inside and put a lap on Bobby Hillin.
And that's just the difference between a draft and running by yourself.
If he got caught out there when he made his pit stop a little bit earlier than the others, Bobby Hillin, and he got caught out there by himself, no one to draft with, and that really hurt. Jerry Punch?
We might mention that's no fault of the Heilig-Myers crew for Bobby Hillin. They could not get the car to take the fuel. The fuel filler neck apparently was repaired when the car was wrecked at Daytona, the Daytona 500. They didn't realize it wouldn't take fuel like they wanted it to. So it's not the crew that's slow. The car itself would not accept the fuel can, and that's why the lengthy stop.
So Bobby Hillin now finds himself a lap down. You see the roof cams that we get the great video from.
There's the one on the front of the roof, and here's the one on the back of the roof.
We have had 13 lead changes so far today. The most this year has been at Daytona, where we had 38.
This fivesome here is pulling away a little bit from the sixth place car, which is a group being led by Jeff Bodine.
Leader Dale Earnhardt has 17 top 10s and 28 career starts here at Talladega. That's 61% of his finishes in the top 10. And 5 victories, only 1, however, in this race. That was in 1990. The others have been in the summer race.
Davey was trying to get on the inside of Jeff Bodine as they came up on Bobby Hillin. I think Davey figures he might be able to pull Jeff a little bit faster than Jeff is running. Hopefully they can gain on those front runners. There's Rick Wilson, who we saw get lapped a little bit earlier, but he's been able to hang with the leaders once he got in that particular draft.
And we saw Bobby Hillin pull in the back of that pack, who just was lapped by the leaders.
Looking back on Davey Allison from Jeff Bodine's car. I think Rick Wilson's case was, as we have seen with a couple of others, he simply couldn't get a drafting partner after that first pit stop, and he got left behind.
Well, it'll happen. In fact, Lake Speed that we saw in that second group of cars a little while ago, he just got lapped by the leader. So he got out there by himself as well after making the pit stop. So he has now gone a lap down. Talladega hasn't been able to move around Jeff Bodine.
There's the interval now as we go up to the front 5 cars, I should say.
So they're running in formation. Very tight. Single draft. They know that they're pulling away from Davey Allison and Jeff Bodine, and that's exactly what they want to do.
We're 11 laps past the halfway point, and Dale Earnhardt has led 71 in the first 105. 24 cars are on the lead lap, 7 leaders, 14 lead changes. No cautions, raising the average speed to 188.97 miles an hour. Here are those that have led a lap. Earnhardt has led 71, Wallace 17. Also leading a lap, Dale Jarrett, Davey Allison, Mark Martin, Jimmy Spencer, and Ernie Irvan. Only 4 cars officially out of the race. And now our Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standing, showing that Buddy Parrott from Rusty Wallace's team is on top. Andy Petrie from Dale Earnhardt's crew is second. Then Tony Glover from Ernie Irvan, Donnie Wingo from Jeff Bodine, and Steve Meal from Mark Martin complete the top 5 in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings.
I'll tell you what, you look at that 5-some, and it kind of tells you it really doesn't matter too much where you qualify at Talladega. Earnhardt was on the pole. Dale Jarrett qualified 3rd. Rusty Wallace was back about 24th. Mark Martin started 41st. And Ernie Irvan qualified in the 16th spot. So they're all up in the lead draft now.
Boy, this is, as we pointed out earlier, how important this race was to Rusty Wallace, because the next 2 venues that we go to, Sears Point and Charlotte, Rusty has victories at those tracks, but he has had a relatively poor showing in previous races here at Talladega, but not today. As Benny said, he started 24th. He came quickly to the front and now runs in a very solid 3rd position, and finishing there would be essentially a win for him here.
I guarantee you he would not consider it a win. He would consider it a 3rd place finish. He didn't win.
Rusty has led 37% of the laps raced in 1993 and 28% of the miles raced this year.
Bill Elliott in the Budweiser Ford about to go a lap down.
He is running in 33rd position. And he gets lapped by Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, and Ernie Irvan. Those are the top 5 at the moment, and it's kind of unusual to see Bill Elliott lapped here at Talladega, because Elliott has 2 victories, this race in '85 and the diehard race in '87. Well, his death, Jimmy Valvano's death, was a loss to all of the sporting world, and certainly those of us in auto racing pass along our condolences to his family. And we, of course, at ESPN, we're very close to Jimmy, and we're going to miss him greatly. You're watching from the Family Channel blimp, hovering high above Talladega Superspeedway. And not only does a Family Channel blimp provide spectacular shots from the camera up there, but they make dreams come true for children from Make-A-Wish, Special Olympics, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, providing once-in-a-lifetime rides to more than 100 children so far on this year's tour. There are the top 5, led by Dale Earnhardt, and Jerry Punch has a spark plug story.
Guys, with increasing horsepower, you increase compression in these race engines, and that creates a problem, metal fatigue. And see, the old days, they ran these spark plugs in the race. And this metal fatigue would affect the ground strap, the little curved part on the end. If that would break off, you get a misfire in the engine. Well, now the folks from AC up in Rochester have developed what's called a surface gap plug that many of the teams are using. In fact, 4 of the top 5 cars right now have this plug on board. Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, car number 18 of Dale Jarrett, and Ernie Irvan are using the surface gap plug from AC. Has a center core, and there are 4 surface margins where the spark can jump. You don't have to worry about metal fatigue or a misfire on a high compression engine day. So certainly this little thing here could possibly save a car and put you in victory lane. Bob?
Jerry, you also don't have to worry about indexing the spark plugs with that. That little ground strap used to you had to get that to the top so the piston wouldn't hit as it came up. With that new spark plug, you just screw them in. You don't have to worry about the indexing anymore.
Good information.
Because those cars up front are running about 49.02, 49.03, 49.04. Now that's in seconds around this track. Earnhardt qualified at 49.77. That means they're running over 195 miles an hour.
Wow, man. And we are more than 3 miles an hour faster than the track record at this point. No cautions.
And this is the group for 6th place.
6th on back.
Yep. 6th on back, yeah.
There's the average speed, 189.6.
And we've made 2 pit stops. The cars have made 2 pit stops, still averaging over 189.5 miles an hour.
There's still 22 cars on the lead lap, and a lot of them are in this group of cars right here.
There we see Davey Allison. He is the car that's currently running in 6th place, leading this group of cars.
They're about 7.5 seconds behind the leaders.
It also includes Morgan Shepherd, and just ahead, Greg Sachs. Lake Speed, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Bodine, Derek Cope.
Now Kyle Petty is at the rear of that pack. We saw him get lapped a little bit earlier, so he's not in there, and also Bobby Hillin.
And so Kyle's streak of 6 top 10 finishes in the last 6 races could come to an end today. He's all the way back in 25th, a lap down at the moment. Oh, look out.
Cars touched.
Did they make it?
No.
No.
Sterling Marlin did not make it.
Spinning coming off of corner number 4.
So the caution out for the first time today.
The car is, of course, down in the grass. And Sterling, it looks like, will be able to keep the car running.
And he's continuing on. He has some damage to the rear of the car, but he's continuing.
First caution of the day.
That's amazing. It's been this long.
Yep.
As close as these fellows have run all day long. My hat's off to them.
Now another pit stop will come. We've completed 115 laps. Here it is again.
There we see Sterling go up. He and Lake Speed almost got together. Now Derek Cope comes along, and Jeff Bodine runs right in the back of the 8 car.
I think the 8 car had to back off when he got up there with the other car, and Jeff had his momentum going and just tapped him, and around he went.
Bill Elliott and Kyle Petty just made it through without getting involved in this. Marlin is still running, going down the backstretch, but the pace is slowed now. The pace car is on the track for the first time all afternoon.
Well, that fact the cars that we saw battling there and saw the incident happen, they catch up now to those up in front. And as you said, pit stops will be coming up. It's been a while since they've had right side tires on these cars. I expect we'll see them put 4 tires on them, though.
What's really scary, we'll see some more of that 3 abreast races when this thing restarts.
Yeah.
First caution flag, lap 117. One more time, let's look at it.
On the right.
The blue and white car right at the right side of the screen. He goes up, and you see he looks like he had to get out of the gas just a little bit, and Jeff Bodine touched him in the rear, and that's all it took. And look at Kyle Petty go down almost in the grass to get by.
Ray Bestis Ford slid into the grass, but he kept going. This is from Jeff Bodine's perspective.
Okay, he's following the blue car of Sterling Martin. They will listen.
He just kept the wheel straight.
Yep.
Just kept the wheel straight. And finally, Sterling Marlin left, and he was able to go on by.
Sterling's car did appear to falter there for a moment. Anyway, here comes now the parade down pit road.
And there are, 21 cars now still eligible to come down pit road on this lap.
All the cars on the lead lap may pit now, and there's 21 of them, as Ned Jarrett said. See Dale Jarrett stops in his pit.
And John Kernan is there in Dale Jarrett's pit.
Dale Jarrett and the Interstate Battery Chevrolet crew are in. It looks like it's only going to be right side tires. They don't have someone on the left side taking off the lug nuts. I just assumed they'd probably go with 4. The gas is in. They would go down and away. Let's go down to Earnhardt's pit and Jerry Punch.
And John, the world is pitting down here. Earnhardt nearly tags the 27 car. He fortunately hits the brakes, and that brake will allow Dale Jarrett to go by him. on pit road. 11.1 seconds for 2 right side tires. And Earnhardt is away. Everyone now headed back. Everyone down here that we saw took only right side tires to try to save track position.
Great pit stop for Dale Jarrett. He's going to be leading this thing when we go back to racing. Earnhardt will line up in second position. We'll take another break and be right back to Talladega. ESPN Speed World at the 2.6-mile Talladega Superspeedway. The Winston 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race. We're under caution for the first time, and this is what happened. We're riding with Jeff Bodine. Sterling Marlin is just ahead.
And Sterling gets up into late speed a little bit, has to back off the gas, and Bodine had his momentum, and he just rammed into the back of him. Of course, Sterling spun to the inside of the track.
And it didn't appear as if Jeff Bodine's car was damaged, but John Kernan it is. It's behind the wall.
Well, Bob, what they're working on right now is the radiator. Apparently, when he did get into Sterling, a piece of metal of the framework that holds the nose on got pushed back into the radiator, and now they're pushing some of that away. They're trying to get the radiator right now. It's stuck. They're having a hard time pulling it out, so they're going to have to remove a couple more screws and get it out. Jeff Bodine sitting behind pit wall, losing some valuable time as they try to repair the radiator.
All right, a tough break again for Jeff Bodine, who's had 3 misfortunes in the last 3 races. Now, Rusty Wallace was one of the first to come in, but he was one of the last to leave. Jerry, what happened?
Well, actually, Rusty Wallace's crew changed 4 tires. They're about halfway up pit road between where John Kernan and I are standing. It's very difficult when the entire world is pitting, to be able to see exactly. But they changed 4 tires, and they also, because the fenders are so close on the super speedway cars, they had to take time to move the steering wheel back and forth to get the left front tire beneath the left front fender. All that, the 4 tire stop plus the manipulation of the steering wheel in 19.5 seconds. But he's got 4 fresh tires, and the others have 2.
So that explains why Rusty Wallace will line up behind everybody else. Well, last week in our track fact, we looked at front camber. We're going to take a look at rear camber now with Larry McReynolds. Track facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
You learn that rear camber is stationary. Once you set it, you can't change it. One luxury we have with front camber is we can adjust it. The way we see how much camber that we have is we use a camber gauge. The center of the bubble tells us how many degrees of camber we have. What we want to do with front camber is find a compromise to keep as much of the tire patch on the ground on the straightaways as well as in the corner. It's real important to keep as much of it on the ground in the corner as we can, because as the tire rolls, the front end travels, the tire patch will try to leave the ground. The way we adjust our camber is with front end shims. If we want to lean the tire in more, we add shims. If we want to lean the tire out, we take shims out. The way that we see if we're getting the optimum camber reading is by looking at a tire sheet taken from across the surface of the tire after the driver comes in from a practice run. With the development of the Goodyear radial tire, fine-tuning the camber has become real important.
Thanks, Larry. Like I said, last week we looked at rear camber, and this
No. Don't you ever watch these shows? Last week, Robin Pemberton talked about rear camber.
That's what I said.
We showed. You didn't say that.
Benny, you're not listening again to me. Doggone it. Man. Well, looking back from the Pontiac pace car, we see Dale Jarrett lined up, ready to restart the Winston 500 in a couple of minutes. We'll take another break and be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Talladega, where the cars are moving through the tri-oval and accelerating toward the green flag and a restart of our event. They'll cross the line and complete lap 121. The green comes out on lap 122. We're back to racing. Dale Jarrett at the front of the field. Earnhardt is second, then Mark Martin and Ernie Irvan. Those on the bottom are lapped cars, including Rick Wilson and Kyle Petty and Phil Parsons.
That means Rick Wilson is running in 21st place with 20 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Petty would be 22nd.
Jarrett and Earnhardt break away from Mark Martin.
You know, we mentioned that Rusty Wallace changed 4 tires. We'll see if that helps him or not. But Earnhardt and Jarrett only changed 2 tires, Mark Martin and Ernie Irvin. But just before that caution came out, they were running laps at 195 miles an hour. So I don't think that as far as speed's concerned that the new tires would have helped them all the way
Can't get
around.
much better than that.
I see Rusty Wallace on the inside trying to take advantage of those 4 fresh tires. Trying to go to the front. There he is, the black car, black and gold car on the inside of Phil Parsons.
Once again, 3 abreast through the first corner.
Here's Earnhardt with Mark Martin following him, making a move up on the outside.
Earnhardt has the lead.
Ooh, awfully close there between Jarrett and Martin. Jarrett wanted to fall in behind Earnhardt, but his spotter said, nope, you don't have that much room up there. You better find you another place to get in line.
Meanwhile, Kyle Petty, we see his car running well. He's trying to take Rusty Wallace to the front. And Dale Jarrett's hung on the inside.
No place to get up in, no hole opens up. Here comes Rusty down on the inside. He might help to open up a hole.
Falls in front of Kyle Petty, behind Jarrett.
Rick Wilson goes by. Brett Bodine goes by on the inside. Rusty's been back there before today, and he's fought his way to the front. Let's see if he can do it one more time. Looks like Dale Jarrett's going to go up in front of Schrader and leave poor Rusty by himself, because there Spencer goes up.
Say poor old Rusty, though, just coming back down on the inside, but I don't know if he can hold it or not. Now Schrader goes down behind Rusty.
And why did he do that?
We understand that Jeff Bodine, in fact, he is now pulling back out on the track, but he's several laps down. Jeff up there in 5th position in the point standings coming into this race.
And the field goes by quickly to his right.
There you can understand how fast 190 is.
Yep.
He was probably doing 70, 80 miles an hour as he was accelerating from the pits. Maybe 100 miles an hour. Those other guys were just blowing by. This is Bobby Hillen's car, the Heilig Myers Furniture car.
And that's Jimmy Spencer just ahead, who started second. And Davey Allison.
Davey just doesn't have anybody to draft with, does he?
They're just moving by on the inside. They're just driving right on by him.
We saw the front fender look like Rick Wilson's STP Pontiac move up right beside of Hillen as they come off the corner.
Here's Jarrett making it 3 abreast down in turn 1. Jimmy Spencer follows him down through there as they move around Rusty Wallace.
Watch him up front.
Jarrett's moved back in the 3rd spot.
And Rusty is back there in 6th.
Rusty was able to sneak in on the outside. Now Jimmy Spencer hung on the inside.
3 abreast. Here's Rick Wilson down on the inside. Brett Bodine follows him. Jeff Gordon back in it here now.
Spencer's in the middle.
Oh, and that's not a good place to be for speed or safety. Now Dale Jarrett's in the middle. That's not a good place to be for speed or safety.
An Auto Light Field summary where the cars were running last time around.
Ooh, look at this.
There is just an incredible amount of traffic.
Now we see Jeff Bodine very slow on the bottom. Hope they're not planning on the lane being there.
Everybody gets around okay.
Spencer's car has been very strong. He's down on the inside of Ernie Irvin there. He needs a little help from Rusty, but I believe Rusty's going to go with Irvin. Look how close they are.
At 195. Jeff Gordon is right on Rusty's bumper now.
Yeah,
Here comes Schrader.
Spencer gets hung down there on that inside with nobody to draft with. Now Schrader's coming up there, but Schrader might be just going to try to go on by. Now Jarrett trying to pass Mark Martin here as they come down the tri-oval. And does it.
And Ernie Irvin comes along with Dale. And now battle side by side with Mark. And it looks like that Mark is going to battle back on the top.
Yeah, he's got to keep his foot to the floorboard in that Valvoline Ford and try to pick up any car that he can to draft with.
Looks like the inside line is going right by Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon did pull up on the outside, try to help Mark Martin. Also to help himself, Jeff Gordon, the DuPont car, is a lap down.
Is he? I didn't know
No,
he'd lost
I don't
a
think
lap.
so. No, he's up there.
Oh, I
Look, Garrett
apologize
lost the
for
lead.
that.
Looking back on Michael Walter from Jarrett's car now Jarrett has the lead coming
Well,
down. Well,
momentarily,
he
but-
did for a while.
Yeah, Earnhardt stayed right up there, and Irvin stayed with Earnhardt. And here we go, 2 abreast again. Rusty has come down there with him. Jimmy Spencer, he was hung down there by himself. He said, I got a little bit of help here now.
Somebody
Looked like a little
hit the
dust.
wall.
Yeah,
Oh,
somebody
boy.
hit the wall. There's
Yeah.
dust flying back there.
You hold your
Michael
breath when
Walter.
you see that dust flying up.
What if it was Michael Walter, because he has moved down on the inside.
Michael looking for his first top 10 finish of 1993. Look at this, 4 wide.
Wow,
and a big
yeah,
crash.
that's what happens.
Yep.
Oh, man, it had to happen with all that many cars running.
It was
3 and 4
inevitable.
abreast.
Inevitable.
Greg Sachs spinning around. And these
got
guys
about-
better slow down because
Pace car moves out quickly to try to pick up the field and slow them down before they get back here. We've got about 5-6 cars that are littering corner number 4.
tell you what, Elmo's got a lot of nerve driving out
Boy,
front of
he
those
did.
guys running 190 miles an hour.
He slammed on the gas and got up ahead of him. There's Bobby Labonte. You see the 68 car of Greg Sachs in the background. I think Ted Musgrave is involved. There's the 14 on the left of Terry Labonte, and this is lap number 130 that we see our second caution. Lake Speed is involved.
The Labonte brothers, both of them, Bobby and Terry.
A lot of damage to the front of that car.
Yeah.
A lot of damage. Well, here's what happened. These cars are trying to get through it.
You see Morgan Shepherd, looks like he must have some damage to his car. Rick Mascar's got some damage. Lake Speed's car.
Now, Jimmy Hensley, I believe he got slowed down and came on through up on the outside. I think that's him up there in the white
Yep,
car up
I
on
think
the
you're
left
right.
of the screen.
Well, you see Rick Mass spinning. There's Musgrave.
Lake Speed,
Yeah.
there were some problems.
Jimmy Means. Jimmy Horton.
Jimmy Means, you said.
Yeah.
Bill Elliott comes down pit road, and Jimmy Hensley goes by
Yep.
on the outside. Also, Wally Dallenbach, who just went back out on the racetrack a couple of laps ago.
Morgan Shepherd.
Morgan keeps it right up on the outside, but you can see there is some
Yep.
damage to the front of the Citgo Ford.
And the safety crew is at the car of Terry Labonte. Under caution for the second time today because of a crash out of turn number 4. Back in a moment. We're under caution. The field is slowed for only the second time this afternoon in the Winston 500. This because of a crash involving several cars off of corner number 4. Now Terry Labonte, whose car is there on the left, did get out and walk to the ambulance. So we're very glad to see that. But the car is badly damaged, and here is the replay from Morgan Shepherd's perspective.
And watch his white car down on the inside, gets hit and slams up in front of the other cars. I don't know if that was Terry Labonte or didn't
I
look
think-
much like his car.
That looked like Dick Trickle's car.
This is out the back of Jeff Gordon's car. I believe that was Labonte, and he turned into the wall hard. And now another look.
There's Jeff Gordon very high.
You look
There,
on,
they're
you
three
look back
abreast.
just on the very right-hand side, the Rick Mass car and
Terry Labonte.
Yeah.
I
And the
think Dick
75
Trickle was in it.
car,
I think the white car was
yeah.
Dick Trickle.
Yeah, I think you're
there
right.
he goes
Then-
down in the
yeah.
grass right down there, yes.
And look at Joe Ruttman coming here in the blue car. He missed everything. How did he do that?
Well, he did a great job. He dug down the inside.
Back at Talladega, the Pontiac pace car has the field in tow in the Winston 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race.
And we're on, the caution flag is out. The cars are slowed down because of this. What's this? You think you're running 190 miles an hour? What happened? Oh, here we go. Just to the right of the screen, just to the right of your screen, you will see cars there. The white car, Dick Trickle, comes up, hits the one car, and we see Terry Labonte head on in the wall in the Kellogg's Cornflakes car. Just head on in the wall where someone hit him and turned him that way. Morgan Shepherd comes through, heavy damage to his car, leg speed. Bobby Labonte's in there, heavy damage to his car.
Lot of sheet metal and a big disappointment for Greg Sachs, who had a great run going in his first with the Country Time car, but unfortunately it's on a rollback right now. He changed his spring in the right front and had a really good run going, but unfortunately it is all over. So once again, we have seen how the crews put the cars together and how the drivers have taken them apart. Now the pits have been closed all this time because most of the wreckage was right at the entrance to pit road. And there you see the NASCAR official displaying the red flag indicating that the pits are closed. Look at the tire marks off of 4.
That's not good. You don't want to see tire marks like that.
Jerry, what are they going to do on pit stops?
Well, as soon as they open pit road and the guys could come down pit road, apparently what they're going to do in a lot of pits, including the 3 pit of Dale Earnhardt, they will change all 4 tires. Now, they would really be stretching it from here to make it on fuel, so they're going to change 4 tires and look for the 3 car and maybe others to dive back down pit road and top the tank off 1 lap prior to the green flag. Then they could make it, maybe, according to Richard Childress. So pit road is now open, and we would expect to see the leaders, including Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace and company, head down pit road for what would be a 4-tire stop, at least down here in the Goodrich pits.
And why didn't Ernie Irvin stop? Ernie Irvin stayed on the racetrack in the Kodak Film Chevrolet. Evidently, he can't make it the rest of the way. He has to stop on the green, so these guys must be figuring on going the rest of the way, Ned.
I would think so. I think they are planning to do that. Ernie has already led a lap, so he didn't need to stay out there to get those 5 bonus points.
Well, there are 54 laps to go as we see Rusty Wallace's team working. Here is Dale Earnhardt's crew changing 2 tires on that car.
There goes Mark Martin on Dale Jarrett back on the racetrack. Brett Bodine. Here comes Hud Strickland. Now Rusty Wallace, there's a tire going across pit road. Somebody chased it. Here comes Earnhardt back out. Wonder how
Earnhardt changed 4. Allison's still there. They're changing 4.
And they're putting some tape on the windshield to hold that windshield in. Here comes Michael Walsh, Balco, Kenny Wallace. Good run today for Wallace in the Dirt Devil car. And Jimmy Hensley being pushed. He has stalled the engine, and they're trying to push it and get it started. There he finally gets it going.
They continue to work on the windshield of Davey Allison. John Kernan showed you how shattered it was when he ran over a piece of debris. Now they're trying to secure it down.
That'll help Davey real good. They're putting a piece of tape right across where he looks.
Just what you need when you're traveling 195 miles an hour. 54 laps to go in the 188 lap Winston 500. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, the NASCAR Winston Cup Winston 500. John Kernan is with Greg Sachs, who was involved in that accident moments ago.
Well, Greg, I guess it wouldn't be Talladega if we didn't see a lot of mangled cars, mangled sheet metal down here in the garage. It happened right in front of you. What did you see?
Well, it did. You know, our Country Time Ford was really running well, and about 2 or 3 rows up, a couple of cars got together off of 4. I don't know exactly who it was or what happened, whether it was mechanical trouble or not, but they started spinning, and I slowed my Ford down and was moving left a little bit. Thought I could see Dale, so I was back in it. I guess it was a train, because all of a sudden someone clipped me in the back, spun me around. But I'm just pumped up. You know, the Country Time team is a great team. They gave me a great car. I was out there running strong. I hope that we gave some new excitement to fans, and hope to be back in here real soon.
I also saw Dick Trickle. He's been checked out. He's okay. Greg is okay. Terry Labonte was in there. How's Terry doing?
Terry's chest is bothering him a little bit. He's doing fine. He's sitting up. He's talking, but he's got a little pain in his chest. I heard the doctors whispering a little bit. He's okay. I'm sure he's going to be fine.
Greg Sachs and Jerry. Greg wanted me to give him his mic, give him my microphone so he can be the TV announcer for the rest of the day. So maybe I'm just going to take the day off.
Come on, let's go do a few. Let's go here. Come on.
Okay. All right. Well, Greg's already been pretty lucky today coming out of the hospital. Let me show another lucky driver here. We've mentioned Jimmy Hensley. This is Hensley's right rear tire that ran over a piece of debris in the backstretch. He heard the pop. The tire erupted, but the inner liner inside still held. Remember, these are tubeless interliners that Goodyear has this year. Now, in years past, when you cut a tire at 190 miles per hour, I'm sure Ned Bennett can tell you what would happen. A driver doesn't like to think about what could have happened. The car would have been pirouetting, possibly somersaulting down the backstretch. Well, now Jimmy Hensley is on the racetrack, run 2 laps on the interliner, makes a safe pit stop, and is back in the race. Bob?
And Jimmy and the others are lining up for a restart. We should get that in another lap. We'll be back in just a moment with more live from Talladega, Alabama. You rejoin us just as the green flag is about to come out. The field moving through the tri-oval now, and the green is waving. We're back to racing on lap 138.
Mark Martin is the leader.
Jarrett second. Hud Strickland running third.
Well, that's the first time Hud has been up here this far in the field today. Good pit stop, good pit strategy there.
And I think all these guys are planning on going the rest of the way without stopping again.
Derek Cope fourth. Rusty Wallace is fifth. Wally Dallenbach trying to get a lap back.
Well, he might be trying to get out. Maybe he has had an awfully fast car and get in front of his teammate Mark Martin and try to pull him away. But
Look at
Jerry has
Jarrett.
different ideas.
He makes it 3 wide into 3 and takes the lead. That car's strong, Ned.
Yes, it is. It has been strong all day long.
And we see Dale Earnhardt back there. He and Ernie Irvin stopped with 1 lap to go to top off the tank. So that tells me they're certainly going to try to make it the rest of the way. And Brett Bodine comes down, goes by Irvin, trying to go by Rick Wilson. He must be 5 deep there.
There was at least 4. They sort of thinned out a little bit going into turn there. They're still 3 abreast.
That's Hud Strickland in the middle, the red car in the middle. Phil Parsons on the inside of him.
Well, this is where you see trouble when you see this many cars. Here we go again. Brett Bodine, 4 abreast.
Is that all 4?
Rick Wilson's behind him, and so is Ernie Irvin.
Rick Wilson backed off. He said this is not going to be smart going in there, and he was right.
That's for sure.
There's Davey Allison back there. And we see Dale Earnhardt going to the front. Ernie Irvin just could not pick the right line. Earnhardt went to the front, and Irvin's still back there trying to figure out which way to go.
Jarrett continues to lead over Mark Martin.
Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer is in 4th place. Now Earnhardt 5th. Well, I tell you, Earnhardt has a lot of confidence. He has a lot of race car as well.
And Jerry Punch has a comment on Dale Earnhardt.
Just spoke with Andy Peekby, the crew chief. They figured they could make it in probably 51 laps, maybe 52, and they've got to go 52. So, but you know, Dale understands that that's 52 laps if he's leading the draft, pulling everyone behind him. If he drafts behind some people, we should be able to make it. I'm not sure Dale wants to draft behind anyone right now.
No, I don't think he is either, Jerry. He's pulling up to go on the outside of Jimmy Spencer. He wants to get back to the front as quick as he can.
And look here, Michael Waltrip poured by Earnhardt on the outside.
Boy, Michael.
Yeah, that hurt Earnhardt's strategy there a little bit as Michael pulled up there and just motored right on by on the outside.
Terry Cope, now Kenny Wallace on the outside of Earnhardt.
Wallace, or rather Waltrip, running 4th now. He started 13th. His highest is where he is right now. His lowest was 27th on lap number 30. He hasn't led a lap.
Now Earnhardt and Jimmy Spencer hook up down on the inside.
They kind of got him boxed in down there, Ned.
Yeah. Michael Waltrip now up to 4th.
And Dale Jarrett leading the Winston 5. Oh! And Kenny Wallace got sideways coming off turn 4. Almost lost it.
And right in front of Earnhardt. Wasn't he? Or right beside him or somewhere pretty close there.
Too close.
Now they got Wallace 3 deep.
We'll take a look again. Kenny Wallace in the black car.
Right on the left side of your screen. Jimmy Spencer goes up, and they bump just a little bit, and look what a job that Kenny Wallace did.
And look how far Earnhardt went down to the inside to get out of the way.
Yep. Well, Dale Jarrett sets the pace. Does he have enough fuel to go the distance, John?
Well, they've got their fingers crossed. Actually, Jimmy Makar sitting up on the toolbox now, thinking, concentrating, hoping, praying that they can squeeze an extra lap out of that last tank full of gas. That's asking moments ago, he said, looks like we're going to be about a lap short.
Ooh.
Not good.
Man, how much is the price a gallon when you go for $1 million?
That's right. Dale has three more chances to win the $1 million.
Michael Waltrip seems to be getting better as the day goes on, trying to go by Rusty Wallace. Here comes Jimmy Spencer once again, trying it on the inside. Earnhardt went with him the last time.
Didn't do it this time, though. He's going up on the
Michael
outside.
Waltrip's on the outside of Rusty Wallace.
And look at Earnhardt get pinched up there by Derek Cope.
Jimmy Hensley still in there in the hunt. Now Spencer moves down behind Rusty Wallace. Meanwhile, here comes Derek Cope behind Michael Waltrip.
This is on top of Bobby Hillen's car.
Close to the wall and close to other cars.
See Spencer going down to try to get some draft, and that was Kenny Schrader that he saw coming on the inside, so he pulled down hoping to get some air. And look at Earnhardt go in the middle between Derek Cope and Jimmy Spencer.
And slides right up in front of Cope.
Now that was a very risky move, but Earnhardt made it work like there was nothing to it.
Earnhardt and Spencer side by side.
Spencer slides into 5th. Earnhardt is 6th. The battle for 7th is right there in front of you. Cope and Schrader. Jeff Gordon is still in this mix, so is Strickland.
He touched a little bit, I believe. Came awfully close to it.
I wouldn't want to have my finger between them.
Yeah, if the metal didn't touch, the air was compressed so tight that it would have hurt.
Exactly. Here comes Earnhardt. He's gotten by Michael Waltrip. Now here comes Schrader trying to make it 3 abreast, and he pulls alongside. Not quite able to make it.
Ernie Irvan with him, along with Gordon.
I think Michael Waltrip said to himself, you know, if I can follow this street car, this black 3, the rest of the day, I'm going to be in good shape.
But that's what Jeff Gordon thought at Daytona, too.
Yeah, that's right. But watch him. He went on the inside. There goes Michael Waltrip on the inside.
This is the Autolite Field summary as of last lap.
Still 18 cars in the lead lap. So the Labonte brothers were the only ones, I guess, that were taken out.
Dale Earnhardt has clinched the bonus points for leading the most laps today. Now, if Dale Jarrett wins this race, he gets $100,000 for winning 2 of the big 4. The other 2 after this one are Charlotte and Darlington. And of course, if he can win 1 more of those, he gets $1 million. But this isn't over yet.
No, it's far from over. That's a nice thought, though.
Yeah, it is. It's only been done once. That, of course, by Bill Elliott. A terrific pace here at Daytona, or rather Talladega. We'll be right back. Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt are your front 4 with 149 laps completed.
Michael Waltrip pulls up right behind Earnhardt. The Pennzoil Pontiac.
Jimmy Spencer looked down on the inside, but he said maybe that's not the place to be. But Ernie Irvan decides he wants to come down on the inside. See the yellow car there.
We timed 5 consecutive laps, 143 through 147, Jarrett and Earnhardt. And on lap 143, there was a 0.6 of a second interval between the 2. And then on lap 147, that was 0.2 seconds. And Earnhardt continues to move toward the front. He's taken 3rd.
And Rusty Wallace has moved up into 2nd, dropping Mark Martin back to 4th.
Spotters are very important here and at every racetrack. They are the eyes of the driver at other locations. Jerry.
No doubt about that, Bob. We're going to show you the platform on top of the roof of the grandstand where the spotters were until this race today. That platform was very small and cramped. Now, what they've done at Talladega is build a larger platform beneath the upper grandstand. You see them all lined up there. But when they got up there this morning, the spotter said, we can't see the backstretch from here. We're about 10 feet lower than we were on the roof. We can't see. So NASCAR, whose number one concern is safety, said, okay, see what we're going to do. Each team can put an extra spotter in the backstretch to help your driver see what's going on. That's what they did today. They have 2 spotters at Talladega as the leaders shuffle in the tri-oval right by the spotters platform and head to the start-finish line.
So 2 spotters are working for many of the cars here at Talladega, here on the tri-oval and in the backstretch, as Jimmy Spencer and Michael Waltrip are side by side, and here comes Ernie Irvan to race side by side with Ken Schrader.
And every one of those drivers knows that those 4 cars up in front of them will get away if they aren't careful. So they want to be the one to break out of this pack and try to get the draft of those front 4. But when they're running side by side, those front 4 are pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, they really need to settle this and get in line if they're going to have any kind of chance of running down the front 4.
You're just simply opening up a much wider area of air. As we see Hut Strickland come out of that pack trying to make a pass. But
looks like he and Derek Cope almost got together as they come off the 4th corner.
Yeah, I think they did too.
And finally, Michael Waltrip gets by the 12 car. Let's see. Oh, Ernie Irvan goes up and Derek Cope hits the wall.
That's why Hut Strickland came down out of that pack. Yeah.
Cope still runs. Man,
he's got to be wondering, did I knock the fender in on a tire? But his spotter will tell him if there's any smoke.
He hit it hard enough to do so.
Sure did. Here's that portion. You see a little difference there, a little daylight behind them.
As they lap Darrell Waltrip.
There comes Michael Waltrip, the 5th place car.
And John Kernan has an update on Dale Jarrett's situation. He continues to lead.
Jimmy Maycar has been on the radio reminding Dale to be very, very smooth. Try and conserve as much fuel as you can because we're going to be very, very tight. In fact, Jimmy said that they're probably getting better fuel miles because he's leading the draft. Normally you hear just the opposite. The car who's behind the car leading the draft will get the better fuel mileage. But he says they're still going to be maybe a half lap short. They might be able to make it around under power to turn 4. But he doesn't think they'll have enough gas to push them across the line.
You know, that's something surprising, John. When you mentioned that, they said at Daytona that when they were running up front or running out front that they were able to get better fuel mileage than running drafting. And that was a big surprise because normally when you're drafting, you're able to ease off of the gas a little bit and not burn as much of it.
Jerry, do you have a comment on this?
Well, the other teams have been looking very anxiously trying to determine what Dale Jarrett's gas status is. In fact, I just spoke with some of the Earnhardt crew. They figure that Dale is not going to make it either. Their figuring is that he's going to run possibly a lap short. They said just now they think they can make it. They've been riding the draft long enough. They could probably turn Dale loose and make it the rest of the way if he led the draft. So they feel pretty comfortable now about their fuel mileage, and they're also feeling pretty comfortable, I think, that the 18 car can't go.
Well, we'll know the answer to all that in a little over 33 laps. They're coming down to complete lap 155. There are your first 4 now in the interval back to the second group of cars.
And man, all these guys trying to get themselves in position. They don't want to be too far back. Davey Allison still trying to get up front.
And several guys in there that are looking for their first win, including Hut Strickland and Jimmy Hensley.
Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Spencer.
Now Spencer has broken out of that pack as we look at the career starts of these guys who have not won.
Sterling Marlin has competed in 256 races but has never won one. Waltrip 215 and down to Wally Dallenbach.
There's Phil Parsons. And Michael Waltrip. Rick Wilson goes by the STP Pontiac. They're going to make it 3 abreast, I think. No, decided not to do it that time. Now, Jimmy Spencer finally has gotten in front of Michael Waltrip. Let's see if this group can run down the front pack.
Yeah, before he led a pack of cars that seemed to gain on the front runners, but I'll tell you that last lap, that those front runners was at about 195 miles an hour. So it's going to be tough to run them down with them running that kind of speed.
Ernie Irvan goes by, gets in front of Michael Waltrip. Here comes Schrader.
Oh, Waltrip hit the wall, and now
Strickland goes down. And he saved this. No, there's Brett Bodine crashing. I didn't see that car.
Caution is out.
I thought we were going to get away with a minor incident, but now Brett Bodine becomes the second car involved in this, and Brett hit the wall very, very hard. Here's
Elmo, I wouldn't be pulling out. Well, Elmo's pulling out.
Here's the race to the caution. The spot. Now, this is one thing the spotters are good for. They're telling them that Elmo has already got the pace car on the track. Slow down and make sure you fall in behind the pace car.
Okay, now, if you were short of fuel, let's hope that Brett Bodine is okay, banged into the wall pretty hard. Or if you're short of fuel, do you come in now, or do you say, hey, maybe these few caution flags will be laps will be just enough?
Here comes the McDonald's car of Hud Strickland. Let's look at this one more time. There we see Hud Strickland and Jimmy Hensley going by on the outside. There is Brett Bodine, and we see Michael Waltrip hit the wall. He and Kenny Schrader get together. Now Hud hits the wall, and let's say he comes down and
hits Brett Bodine, just clipped Brett Bodine, and Brett slams head on into the wall.
Hard impact for Brett Bodine. He was running in 13th position.
There we see Phil Parsons down in the dirt.
There's Jeff Gordon going through.
And Davey Allison got through there. He was back in the pack after all that damage. After those repairs, putting in a new windshield and everything.
Safety crew is on the scene of Brett Bodine's accident.
They look like they're talking to Brett.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I think you can see him moving in the inside too, so I sure hope so. Strickland's car is damaged in the right front.
He goes back on the racetrack trying to save that lap. Car's not going to be very good aerodynamic, I'll tell you.
He was running 9th. Brett was 13th. And there is Brett waving to the crowd, and we are sure glad to see him walking away from that because he hit hard.
Let's take one more look at that front end.
Survey the damage. Here's from Hillen's roof cam.
Ooh, Davey Allison almost crashed.
He really did. He did a good job.
He's the one that got into Hut.
Yep.
So they're going to have to take the Quaker State Ford off the track. Meanwhile, here's Dale Jarrett in the pits.
Dale Jarrett in for just a gas and go. It'll only be for just a few seconds. They say, yeah, you've got enough gas, Dale. He guts it, heads down pit road. They just wanted to make sure.
That answers that question. They will have enough fuel to go the distance now, but will track position hurt him? That's the question.
No question it'll hurt him. You saw how much of a problem Earnhardt had coming back up through there with 4 fresh tires on his car.
And Jarrett slow getting out of the pits. Car almost stopping down here. Now he's got it running again. There is the damage on Brett Bodine's Quaker State Ford.
And we can see where the nose is just knocked right over the front tires.
Shortened her a little, didn't he?
Now they're trying to figure out how to get the hook on the thing to pick it up. Okay, let's look over here and see if we can find anything to hook onto.
And they continue to work on Hut Strickland's McDonald's Ford. It was also involved in this third caution period of the afternoon. 158 laps out of 188 completed at Talladega. Back in a moment. Cleanup continues in the backstretch. Brett Bodine and Hut Strickland involved in the third crash of the afternoon, and John Kernan is with Jimmy Makar.
Well, Jimmy, before the caution came out, you were going to be about a lap, maybe a half lap short on gas. You've come in, gas and go, but track position, a lot of cars in front of Dale.
Yeah, sure is. I tell you, sometimes second guess yourselves all to death, and we messed up and then didn't come in and top the car off there. We were looking at a NASCAR scoreboard and the scoreboard in the infield thinking that one was right and one was wrong. It turns out it was just the opposite of what we thought. So we were going to be real close on gas, and we just decided not to take that chance and then, go ahead and try for the best finish we can. I think we still got time to get back to the front and do something with them, but that's a tough deal. Cars run awful good. We just wish we could be right back up front where we were.
Well, Jerry, they certainly have had one of the stronger cars in the field today. You're down where, in Michael Waltrip's pit?
Exactly, John, and that's the reason Michael Waltrip did not pit is because of track position. Now, we saw he tagged the wall pretty hard up there, but it's all sportsmanship in NASCAR racing. Michael Waltrip asked for a consultation from Ernie Irvin and Ken Schrader, who both pulled up beside his car, looked at it and said, it looks okay to me. I don't think you need anything pulled away, so they both told Michael, you're okay. And so Michael radioed his pit and told Chuck Ryder and crew, I'm going to stay out and try to get a good finish. So a little bit of sportsmanship here among the NASCAR drivers.
Well, of course, that's for Michael's benefit, and also would benefit of course Ken Schrader and those around him.
Yep, that's true. Now we can see on the right side of the car there doesn't seem to be any damage on the Pennzoil Pontiac, but the left front at an angle we saw there a moment ago, there is some damage on it, but that shouldn't hurt him too bad. His biggest concern was one of those right side tires maybe rubbing some sheet metal, and there that damage is on the left front.
Yep. Okay, they line up for, I don't think they're going to get the green flag next time around. Probably be 2 more laps. So we'll pause once again for these commercials. We'll be right back. All right, here's Jerry Punch on pit road with some interesting information.
Well, guys, we strolled up here to the Valvoline pits to congratulate Steve Meal on being named Western Auto crew chief for the race, or mechanic of the race. But if you look around, you don't see Steve Meal anywhere. Now he finally walked back in. He's been down bargain hunting on pit road. And actually Steve, we wanted to congratulate you on being Western Auto mechanic of the race, but you were down trying to get a little Ford help from the 12 car.
Yeah, this is like Wall Street at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're making deals. None of them will mean anything with 3 laps to go, I'm sure, but what we'd like to do is get organized and get away like we were a while ago. So I'm relying on my buddies, and I just told them the buddy system's done with 3 to go. We're just got to cut and shoot from that point on. But it's going to be awful tough to stop those Chevrolets right now.
You went down to the 12 car and asked Spector's crew, said, hey, stay in line, let's try to catch the Chevys?
Yeah, you know, if anybody gets hung out, I want to have somebody behind us pushing. I want to have somebody in front for us to hook on too. So, you know, it's one of those deals where you about live with these people year in and year out, and every now and then you lean on them. And like I said, with 3 to go, all heck's going to break loose.
It's Wall Street on the high banks here in Alabama, guys.
I like
that. That was Tony Glover sticking his head in just as soon as Jerry Punch finished it. Tony Glover, the crew chief on the Kodak film Chevrolet. There he is.
There they are.
Now they're dealing.
All right.
Wall Street at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I like that. All right, the pace car is on pit road as the field lines up 2 by 2 for a restart. And we'll get the green flag at the completion of lap 162 on lap 163. That's Rusty Wallace going for 4 in a row. Who'll lead him down ahead of Earnhardt, Martin, Spencer, and Irvin.
The lead cars on the outside group on the restarts. Earnhardt just literally pushing Rusty Wallace down the backstretch.
Pontiac leads, followed by Chevy. And running third is a Ford.
That's exactly the way NASCAR would love for it to. Oh, here comes Dale Jarrett trying to get back to the front.
Got Mass to one side and Parsons to the
other
side.
Bobby Hillin makes contact with Rick Wilson, almost loses it right in front of Dale Jarrett.
Well, that's one of the problems of being that far back in the pack. You never know when you might get into some kind of a mix-up. Jarrett gets on the inside of Jeff Gordon. Gordon goes all the way to the top.
Here comes Davey Allison. Davey going by Jeff Gordon.
Davey has won this race 3 of the last 6 times.
His car has been good today. He's Davey Allison. He has stayed in the lead lap, but he hasn't been one of those that's just been able to consistently go to the front when he gets behind.
Like Dale Earnhardt today.
Yeah, right. Rusty Wallace. Rusty Wallace
yeah.
several times.
Here's another Autolite field summary.
Jeff Gordon goes on the corner, leads Derek Cope, Morgan Shepherd, and Morgan Shepherd, that hood is tape. All that red is red tape where they've stuck it back together again after the crash up there. But it looks like the car isn't hurt that bad. It's running awfully well. And Davey Allison is falling back, so his car, either he's hung on the inside or he's got a problem with his car, Ned.
Yeah, he's now dropping in behind Rick Mast. We'll see if he's able to hang on to the ground, but it looked like he even backed off a little bit going into that turn, so I don't know.
This is the roof cam, and look what happened.
To our roof cam. Who do we send the bill to?
It looks like there's a puncture in the windshield there, too. Up front, meanwhile, it is still Rusty Wallace leading in the Pontiac, and the Pontiac has only one win here at Talladega. That was with Richard Petty. This race, 1983, 10 years ago.
Now there are 5 cars in that lead pack that are beginning to break away from the 6th place car.
Jimmy Spencer, who's running 4th, started in 2nd position, and that is the best position to start from in terms of history. Guy who has started in 2nd position has won 14 times in this event.
Now, Jimmy Spencer is doing what Steve Neal wanted to do. He's staying behind Mark Martin. He's not trying to pass him. They're trying to get away from this 6th place car there, from Kenny Schrader, the white car. They want to get away from them. And with 3 laps to go, everything's out the window. Do the best you can.
So there's Kenny Schrader. He's running in the 6th position.
Joe Rutland, the Peterloo Ford.
He's a lap down.
He is a lap down. Bobby Hill's a lap down. But both these cars running awfully well. 20, I think, is the lead lap, Bob.
Okay. Rusty Wallace looking to extend his points lead. He started 24th. His lowest was 24th, and of course he is now the leader and has led now 27 laps as he crosses the line.
You wonder if Earnhardt has anything left and he's just going to sit there until the last lap.
Rusty trying to break the draft a little bit as they go down the backstretch.
But he can't do that.
I wonder if is Schrader in that group behind catching up, I wonder?
Yeah, a little bit. And
here's Dale Earnhardt. He started first.
The lowest he's been all day is 11.
Yeah, and he's led 93 laps, and as we said earlier, that is the 5 bonus points for leading the most.
And that 11th is when he came back in to cap the fuel off.
$22,800 bonus from Unical if we can win the race, Dale Earnhardt.
Looks to me like Schrader in that group behind is catching them, Dale.
Mark Martin started 11th, currently 4th. He led.
He's currently 3rd, but anyway.
Actually, Mark Martin started at the rear of the pack because of trouble he had before the race started. His assigned starting position was 11th, but he was at the tail of the field when the green flag dropped.
There'll be 19 laps to go when they return.
Jimmy Spencer having a good run, started 2nd, currently 4th. He did lead a lap, and his lowest was on lap 96 when he was positioned in 22nd. And Ernie Irvan, the final car in this 5-car lead draft, started 16th. He led 2 laps, and his lowest was on lap number 8 when he fell to 22nd.
And here comes Dale Jarrett, trying so hard to get back to the front.
He's picked up a 2nd in the last 4 laps. But now he has run into this group of traffic here. He and Rick Wilson, he was drafting Rick Wilson, and they were really coming up through there.
We're getting close to the end of the Winston 500. 5 cars running in the lead draft. Back with more of our live coverage after these messages. It remains a 5-car lead draft with Wallace, Earnhardt, Martin, Spencer, and Irvan. And there are 172 laps completed. The average speed of the race has dropped to 162.3 after running at record pace for quite a while. The 3 caution periods that we have dropped it down to 162. However, the last lap speed was 189, about 3 miles an hour off the pace of the pole sitter. Jerry Punch has a comment on Ernie Irvan, who's running 5th at the tail end of this lead draft.
Well, we've already documented that Mark Martin and Jimmy Spencer are going to hook up and stay in line. But what about Ernie Irvan? We talked to Tony Glover. He told Ernie a few minutes ago, he said, now listen, stay in line, stay put until lap 180. That's about 7 laps from right now. At lap 180, they're all yours. Go get them. So Ernie's been listening. He's been staying right in line, waiting and biding his time for 7 more laps.
And just as you say that, Jerry, he heads for the high side of the track and pulls alongside of Jimmy Spencer and ties to take over 4th position. So he couldn't wait for lap 180.
Well, no one ever said Ernie was a math major, but they said Ernie lap 180, not 174. But now he listened to him for about, they touched, and they had a little bit of contact. Maybe they told him, said stay in line. They told him that at lap 165, said stay put for 15 more laps, and at 180 you can go get him. But apparently Ernie got tired of waiting.
Yeah, and it's killing Ernerman and Spencer because the front 3 are pulling away big time now. Now Spencer apparently is going to hook on behind Ernie and say, okay, let's catch him.
Yeah, he backed off, but I tell you what, those front 3 could be gone.
Yeah, they could. Ken Schrader, who was running up in about 8th position, is struggling. The car apparently has lost a cylinder or something because he's very slow on the racetrack.
Yeah, he slowed a couple of laps ago.
That's too bad. Jerry, you heard anything?
I just talked to some of the engine builders for the Kodiak team. They're headed toward the garage. They said the car is missing and getting worse and worse. Kenny's going to try to ride it out if he can to run as many laps as possible, but it's just getting worse. Not a good way to finish here at Talladega for Ken Schrader.
Ricky Rudd was one of the early cars to drop out of this event. Jeff Gordon is still in. He's still in the race.
And guess what? Ernie and the 12 car, Spencer, lost the draft.
Yeah.
Yep. Just that running side by side for that 1 lap that they did. Look at how far that those 3 cars have driven away from this 4th and 5th place cars.
Well, there's more bargaining going on. Joe Ruttman, his team crew member, is talking to Jimmy Makar.
Well, Ruttman is running in 6th position. Jarrett has caught him and is running in 7th position. I think what they're trying to figure is would Jarrett be faster in front, or which way would it be? Right there, they are on the racetrack, 6th and 7th position.
I suggested a little bit ago that Ruttman was not on the lead lap, but he is on the lead lap and turning in an excellent performance.
Now see, they're looking to catch these 2 cars here.
4th and 5th.
Now when Jarrett was leading the race earlier, he was running about 195 miles an hour. Right now, they're only running about 192 miles an hour in the hookup that they have right there.
Oh, and Earnhardt now takes a look to the outside of Rusty. Falls back in, however.
Now they need to stay. These 3 cars need to stay in line and let it settle it out between those 3. Let's don't get racing side by side and bring in 3 or 4 more cars.
We've got 11 more laps to go in the Winston 500. Wallace, Earnhardt, Martin up front. The caution is out for the 4th time this afternoon here at Talladega, and it's because of rain. We could not see the green flag again. If so, Dale Earnhardt has won this race, and Rusty Wallace probably, I think, got 2nd. Now, here's what happened.
Down the back straightaway, Rusty tried to block Earnhardt. Earnhardt goes to the outside and gets up to the point that Rusty can't block him. Now they're side by side, and just watch as they come down to the line.
Mark Martin gets into the picture. He tries to go high. Then he gets up behind Earnhardt, and this will shoot Earnhardt right out in front of Rusty Wallace. Not that Mark Martin was trying to help Dale Earnhardt win the race. He was just looking for a place to go. But then that shoots Earnhardt out in front, and Rusty Wallace drafts back past Martin and will finish 2nd, or at least gets back to the line in 2nd.
Now watch what happens from another angle on the backstretch.
Earnhardt trying to go to the inside. Now watch Wallace come down and block that move. Now here goes Earnhardt, just barely missing it. Now watch this. But he's already there.
So a slugfest on the backstretch as they came to the caution flag, and there is a puddle indicating that the rain is falling, and it is a question mark as to whether we'll go back to green. We have only 8 laps remaining in this race, actually about 7.5 now, as Richard Childress and the other members of the GM Goodwrench crew from Dale Earnhardt are hoping But they don't have to go back to green because they will pick up a win here this afternoon. It'll be his 55th Winston Cup win. Dale Earnhardt.
You know, we talked about Dale Jarrett with a chance to win $1 million. If Dale Earnhardt wins the race today, wins Charlotte, wins Darlington, he would win the $1 million.
He could, yep, he could win the $1 million. So we're under caution as we look back from the Pontiac pace car. And the crowd, despite the raindrops that are falling, are very enthusiastic. Back in a moment. The umbrellas are out here at Talladega as we almost completed the whole race without rain, but we're 7 laps from the finish. Dale Earnhardt is the leader right now. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, we're in their pits with Richard Childress. And Richard, your car leads the race. We're under caution. It is drizzling here. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, it's I wish it wasn't but one to go or something, but, you know, we'll just have to see. You never know. We never know till the checker flag falls who wins the race. You know, we learned that at Daytona a few years ago, and you know, we just want to win the race. You know, Dale had been sitting there kind of saving his gas behind Rusty, and when it come time to go, he went.
Now, if it would come to a battle, if you come back to green flag, do you feel like Dale's pretty comfortable with his ability in the car to hold off the other guys?
My money would be on Dale. You know, it'd be a tight race because everybody gets a jockeying and racing around, and it can get pretty tough.
Either way, they're feeling pretty comfortable right here in the Goodwrench pits right now. Richard Childress, it is raining and coming down pretty well here in a pretty steady mist as they hope to hold on and go to victory lane.
Yeah, this is a real decision for NASCAR. We've got coming up on 6 laps to go. Do we complete the last 6 laps under caution? Do we stop, wait and see if the rain is going to stop? What happens here? Now, we have had word from our helicopter pilot who controls our in-car cameras that it looks as if it's going to rain for a while.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, not that will play into NASCAR's decision, but we continue to run under caution.
And I'm sure that they're monitoring the situation, NASCAR is, and if it's not going to stop raining for the next couple hours, they probably just end it right now.
If Earnhardt does win, it'll be his 55th career victory and put him ahead of Lee Petty, 6th on the all-time win list, 5th in the modern era. Still under caution here at Talladega as another lap is completed. This will be 183.5 to go.
And you see these guys on the inside, Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, they're getting low on gasoline. In the banks, the gasoline runs away from the pickup, so they're running down on the flat of the racetrack to make sure these cars do not run out of fuel.
Okay, let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, Rusty just radioed in and told NASCAR the track is absolutely, positively ready to race. NASCAR said, thank you, Rusty, very much for that input. We appreciate it. But in all honesty, what's happening behind me is Buddy Parrott, the crew chief, is talking with the NASCAR officials, pleading his case, saying, hey, let's red flag this thing. We want one more shot at the 3 car. It's misting rain. It's raining behind the speedway, and the decisions are being made way away from pit road.
It's going to be interesting to see how this thing turns out. As they're running right now, another Fram Field summary.
This is how they would finish if the thing goes to the end on the caution. This is how the cars would finish.
Joe Ruttman was 6th.
Good
Jarrett
run,
7th.
good finish, good run for Ruttman.
Yeah, it sure was. Michael Waltrip also, as he'll finish in the top 10.
Kenny Wallace and Jeff Gordon, 2 of the rookies, right together in 12th and 13th.
You say there's still 15 cars in the lead lap. Rick Wilson has run very good since he got lapped, but he's, of course, in 16th now, lap down.
Started 4th.
Just those cars get in a situation where they lost the draft.
Boy, it's funny to see an R. Petty there, isn't it? Now, that's not Richard, folks. That's Richie Petty, who made his first Winston Cup start here today and is running 25th. Jerry, now what have you found out?
Well, they started celebrating here in Rusty Wallace's pit a minute ago, which meant a couple of things. Either Dale Earnhardt ran out of gas, which didn't happen, or they decided to red flag the race. And apparently that's what they just told me a minute ago from NASCAR. They are probably going to red flag the race, stop them, hopefully get the track dry, and maybe get this thing into a couple of 3-lap shootout for all the money. Guys?
Okay.
Oh, man.
It looks like the pace car is
slowing down
to a stop. Yeah.
Well, the yellow flag is still in the hands of
Doyle Ford. Hey, Doyle, you got a red one there. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. He was hiding that baby.
But they are pulling them down on the inside.
There's the red flag. Now the word has gone out. The cars have been refired. They're going down the backstretch, and we are going to see some racing here in the conclusion of this event. Jerry?
Now the dilemma here in the Goodrich pit is what to do on the restart. Now, some say, well, you want to jump as soon as you can and pull away, but Earnhardt remembers exactly what happened at Daytona 2 years ago. He pulled away and got a comfortable margin on the restart, but that was not to his advantage because the second, third, and fourth place cars hooked up in a draft, drafted right by him, and Ernie Irvan ended up winning the Daytona 500. So it'd probably be to Earnhardt's advantage to try to restart slowly, let them stay behind him so they can't get a run at him, and they're all in the lead draft and just try to hold him off with his driving ability. That's what they're hoping he'll do here, but as Richard Childress told me, I'm not about to tell Dale Earnhardt how to drive Talladega.
Well, Jerry, he's already shot his best bullet. He was saving it for the last lap, and when the rain came out, he thought that was the last lap, so he shot around, drafted past Rusty Wallace, and that is a good point. Does he want to be first all the way from here on, or would he rather be in second place?
Well, here they come, and they're receiving the one more lap to go sign. The lights on top of the pace car are out. Doyle Ford showing them the one more finger. When they get the green flag, we will have 2 laps to go.
Wow. Oh, man.
Earnhardt, Wallace, Martin, and Jimmy Spencer.
Right now, these cars on the inside are a lap down. We see Rick Wilson, Bobby Hillen, Hud Strickland, Phil Parsons down there. I've always thought with just a few laps to go that these guys ought to get behind all the cars that are in the lead lap, because they're really going to play a part into what happens when this thing boils down, because we have like Dale Jarrett back there racing for $100,000. He's in 7th place, and these cars up here are going to pose a problem for him all the way back there.
With only 2 laps to go, it would be almost impossible for them to pick up a lap this way anyway.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's right.
That would be a wise thing to do. Okay. Pace car has them at the end of the backstretch. They head into 33 degrees of banking. Next time around, we will get the green, or this coming time around, we will get the green flag.
And we see Spencer way back there in the back. Is he trying to get a run? Is he trying to get some momentum?
Well, a lot of
Rusty Wallace back there 3 or 4 car lengths laying back. Is he trying to get some momentum?
Strategies are being thought of right now as to how these final 2 laps will go.
And nobody left. You're right, Bob. They're all here watching the pace car pull off.
And there is not a single person seated. They are all on their feet. Some of them waving hats and their hands and whatever. Coming down for the green flag.
And Earnhardt's the guy. They go when he says go. He says go. The green flag's out, and they're going. There goes Jarrett on the outside.
The green is waving. Here they come. 2 laps to go to settle it at Talladega. Mark Martin has dropped back considerably. He and Ernie Irvan and Jimmy Spencer. It's basically Earnhardt and Wallace now.
But what Mark Martin might be trying to do is get a run on these front 2 cars.
I don't know, Benny. I believe he dropped back a little bit too far to do that. He might be able to do it, but he has lap cars.
You see, Rick Wilson is helping those front 2 cars.
Yep.
There we see Bobby Hillen's car as we look.
Off of turn number 4 into the tri-oval once again. Dale Earnhardt leads Rusty Wallace as the white flag comes out. 1 more lap to go, and Martin is way up high and hits the wall and shoves Rusty down to the middle of the track.
Man, oh man.
And Irvan is there right on Earnhardt's bumper, and Irvan goes to the inside of Dale Earnhardt.
And the white flag is out. Here comes Mark Martin. He's going with Ernie. Spencer going on the inside as well.
Irvan has the lead as they go down the backstretch. Jimmy Spencer fans out to 3 wide. Rusty Wallace goes 4 wide. Here they come.
And Earnhardt is off pace. He might be running low in gas.
Look at Dale Jarrett trying to get through. He's moved into a battle for 3rd position.
Earnhardt apparently is running out of gas in the turns.
He shuffled way back. Here they come off the 4th corner. Ernie Irvan leads them down now. Is he going to win the Winston 500? Jimmy Spencer is second. They come through the tri-oval. Checkered is waving. Ernie Irvin wins, and Rusty spins and gets airborne and flips wildly right at the start-finish line. Very reminiscent of his accident at Daytona.
Oh, man. That is too bad. Come on, Rusty. Let's see you move, buddy.
What a way to
Yeah, he's
end.
moving. I see him moving around in the car. I saw there. We see his head moving around.
Yes, we do.
Oh, man.
Thank God.
Man, I tell you what, when it comes down to a shootout, I wouldn't trade Ernie Irvin for anybody in the world. I tell you, he was upset. You know, we started back in the pack and we fell back and we had fought our way all day long, and the crew did a good job. He drove a heck of a race, and when the rain came out, he said he was hot. And I said, Ernie, we're going to be fourth. We're going to be fine. He said, I didn't come here to run fourth. I come here to win. And everything worked out that way. I just hope Rusty's okay. I don't know what happened down there. It looked pretty frightening. I just hope he's okay.
Okay, there's Rusty and Dale Jarrett running side by side. Earnhardt comes down on the inside trying to draft Rusty and go right out of the picture, and it looks, there he is. Earnhardt right up on the back bumper of Rusty, and he does touch him.
That's why
around he goes, and that's one reason that Dale Earnhardt went down there.
That's why he was so concerned, because he touched Rusty Wallace to start this situation, it looks like.
And the car overturns about 6 or 7 times, pirouetting on its nose, end over end, side over side, comes to a rest on its wheels between the start-finish line and turn 1. He will be credited with 6th finishing position.
We have Ernie Irvin who's climbed out of the car, and Ernie, congratulations on an outstanding effort, and his last couple laps were unbelievable.
Well, I tell you, Tony come on the radio and said, I think they're going to finish under caution. And I said, well, that really makes me mad, because we come here to win the race, and we're not leading now, and we hadn't led a lot during the day, but I'd like to have a shot at it. And I didn't know if I could do it from 4th place, because I didn't have a whole lot of help all day. So just happened to get the leaders there dicing it out, and happened to make a decent move, and me and Earnhardt collided a little bit, and I got up ahead of him, and it just everybody got bunched up. Main thing is I hope Rusty's all right. I didn't really get to see what had happened to him, but that's the most important thing, is he's safe.
Were you comfortable in knowing that you might have something for Earnhardt as you were getting ready to go back to green flag? You might be able to run and have a good shot at getting by him?
Well, I knew Dale's main concern was try to pass Rusty, and he wasn't as concerned about the guys behind him as he maybe could have been or whatever. But his main concern was try to win the race. My main concern was I was 4th. I might run 10th. So my shot was just try to go for it and see if I can get a good move on the start. And I laid back a little bit on the start. Me and Mark had a pretty good run on the outside and just had a good shot at him.
34-year-old Ernie Irvin makes it 2 in a row at Talladega, having won last July and taking this Winston 500 in gallant fashion. We caught up with Dale Earnhardt here at the gas pumps. And Dale, I know you were very concerned about Rusty Wallace. You went down there.
Well, man, those things, there ain't really no explanation for it. I was going low, and when he cut down, I hit him right square in the left rear and turned him around, turned him over. Just trying to go for the hole, but everybody's sort of blocking everybody that last lap, and the 4-car, and we run together down there in 1 and 2, and everybody's running over each other down the back straightaway, sort of just to get back to the line. It was one of them deals. They dropped the flag 2 laps to go and bunch them up. That's what they're gonna get, a slugfest. And I went down and talked to Rusty. I got his gloves. He took his gloves off. He was talking to me while they were getting him out of the car, and I just hope he ain't hurt seriously, and I hate it for the guys that work on his team. They're a good bunch of good boys, and I hate it happen. But, one of them racing deals. I was trying to get under him, and he cut down, and I'd already had my momentum up, and, on the speedway, 1 tap, and that's it.
Obviously upset. Dale Earnhardt still sitting in the car, visibly shaken over the fact that his good friend Rusty Wallace may have been injured. Something he said he hated it happened, but he wanted to go down. His very first concern was to see how Rusty was, and now that I told him just a minute ago, Rusty appears to be okay from the information we've gotten, and Dale was able to take a big sigh of relief.
Well, he really doesn't have anything to apologize for, because it was just one of those racing accidents. And again, we hope that Rusty's okay. Stay tuned for SportsCenter later this afternoon for his condition. Exciting race here this afternoon that was won by Ernie Irvin. For Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch, I'm Bob Jenkins, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks from Sears Point Raceway in Sonoma, California. For now, Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.